Mr. President.
I found the
second record button. Just hit the recording.
Hi there.
They never expect the second record button.
Another episode of the Astartes Anonymous podcast, where today we have the one and only Paul is bad at stuff joining us. Paul, who has a staggering at least 12 videos about Space Marine Centurions. So today we're going to be discussing some models that we would love to see make an appearance on the tabletop for Warhammer 40k. So without further ado, I'm your host, Tom, and these are my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Zarek. I've sent you a £50 charge on PayPal. Get back to me right now.
Great.
I'm Karl. There's this asshole called Zarek who keeps overcharging me for datasheet.
Yeah. She just charged someone $80 for a datasheet. Crazy
$80
shit.
It was just that! That's like 8!
I suppose that makes more sense. $10 per datasheet. That's more reasonable. $80!
And I'm Paul, and I will kill again.
I've seen it. He'll do it. He's got that crazy look in his eye.
Don't worry, Tom. We're a minute into recording. YouTube won't notice.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
There's a reason. There's a reason.
Sorry, I will unalive again.
It's okay. This isn't monetized. You say what you want. There's no monetization on this. You say anything you want.
Hell yeah.
We had the one episode where it was monetized, and then Arthur said like "cunt" 4 hours into like a 9-hour recording or something like that, and then it wasn't monetized, which was wonderful.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Paul here is actually the reason why when you go to a 40k tournament, less people leave than people enter. Isn't that right? That's your hunting ground, right?
Yeah,
that's where you get.
That's where I get the fresh meat. Basically, because I'm bad at the game, if I can get more people into the game that are worse than me, I can feel good about myself when I win.
Oh, I get it.
It's backfiring massively because all the people who turn up new, fresh to tournaments still beat me, so it's not working.
Well, they beat you until we find their body in the bathroom stuffed with
True,
centurions.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a bit of give and take, right? They beat me, so I kill them.
They give you losses, you take their life.
Exactly. I have a loss, they have a loss.
Splendid. What a wonderful.
Well, one time I was in the toilet at my local tournament, and I heard this other guy go into the stall next to me, and then I just heard this guy who sounded remarkably like Paul is bad at stuff say, "It's just a little give and take." Before another guy he screamed a bunch, and then he stopped moving, real dramatic like.
It's true.
Oh, Croc, your internet is horrific, but I've got the local recording on, so it should be fine. Right,
let me move the mic even closer.
Hold up, don't need it. Let's move on to our models of the week. So, starting off, let's put the pressure on Croc. Croc, would you like to tell us who this model was by and why you like it so much?
So, this is a yokel by Chaplain Ravengard. That's a funny joke now. This is Chaplain Corday by Yokel. As anyone who has watched this podcast ever will know, I feature this guy whenever I can. Because, well, I'll be damned if I ain't never seen somebody paint black armor as good as this guy can.
Jakul is one of our patrons as well, so thank you very much, Jakul. And yeah, it's a wonderful black he's managed to pull off here with a little bits of metallic in a few places. Definitely grimed it down a little bit, but very carefully.
It definitely helps that Jokul is very good with photography, but even then, like having that much black armor on a model where you can see the scratches, but it not take away from the detail of everything else.
Yeah,
it's kind of insane. I gotta say.
Yeah. Listen, I gotta call you both out as Space Marine Glazers, but clearly the superior man in this model is that little guy down there. Beautiful feathers. I love him.
Yeah. It's weird because the reason you paint black armor is so you can just spray paint it and then not have to worry about it. It just makes making an army so much quicker.
Yeah, the average Raven Guard enjoyer versus the extenuating Raven Guard enjoyer, and that's wonderful. But yeah,
it's
very cool.
It's like you condensed all the talent of the entire Raven Guard fandom into one guy, because unlike Iron Hands players, there is actually two of them.
True. There's Iron Hands players? I thought those died at the end of 8th edition.
No. They're still around.
I'm alive, barely.
Well, no, this was the... Oh, you weren't there, Zarek. This was the joke in the last recording that we did. That'll probably come out after this, but The joke was that like every Iron Hands player says, "I'm one of like 5 Iron Hands players," but there's like a bazillion people who say that. It's like you guys are obsessed with your own victim status. Every single one of you is a chosen pariah. Right, let's move on to another one. I'm sorry, Iron Hand fans, except for you, Oxy. The apology does not extend to you.
Yeah, you know what you did.
I'm not sorry.
You know what you
You don't mean to be every time I show up in the High Lords chat.
Excellent. Right. Zarek, would you like to give us a little bit of a rundown on who made these and why you chose them, please?
Absolutely. So these are some lovely little armatures by Alley Bloodless. I really love the posing on these specifically, because I've seen a good number of these little guys, built a few myself, and really, this is some custom pose work that I think really brings a lot of life to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun one. I'd probably argue that the guy on the right, to an extent, might even be modeled for advantage. To a small, because he's like so much more crouched than an Armagus should be.
It's more that he gets advantage because he's turning a corner. So he's better at taking those corners because he's running that way. The other one looks like he's about to kick a football.
Oh, he does.
Probably some sort of Chaos Space Marine as a football.
Well, you see, his face is looking down. The one on the left, like I know the base isn't done, but maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity here to just put a poor grot ready to get booted into the stratosphere down there,
or a banana peel.
True.
Yeah.
I've noticed one on the right has like some sunflowers free-handed on his far.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very fun little knobbly bit.
In fact, the whole color scheme to me speaks of like a kind of a sports team color scheme, and that works really well with the posing.
I was gonna say the color book's actually like the pitch.
Oh,
you're right.
Because it's green with the white lines.
What if there's any writing they put on this? No, there wasn't. Damn, that's a shame. But yeah, this is very, very cool. Love the stripes. They're very clean. Great little paint job. Would like to see these based, and definitely get a little Gretchen or a Grot on the base, and the one on the left have booted to the moon. Right, moving on. So thank you very much, Ally Bloodless, and you're cool. Moving on. So we've got the next one was my pick, and this is from Linky, which means we should just skip it.
Yes, we should.
Yeah, bye-bye, Linky.
But we're not going to.
Linky almost made it onto an episode.
No, we're not going to. We're not going to because Linky actually chose a really cool model this time. This is is this second edition? This is a second edition Space Marine, right, Zarek?
Looks like it.
So this is a second edition Salamander painted up in very close to original retro color scheme. I just think it's neat. There's nothing I really want to draw to attention here, except that it's just really nicely done, and it's nice to see someone put a lot of effort into a retro model. You almost never see it nowadays. So that's very, very cool. This guy feels right at home in 1998, 1999, something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I love the little flame effect going up the chainsaw.
Yeah, Linky very well could have pulled this model out of someone's garage rather than painted it fresh.
Yeah, it almost looks weird that it's not covered in like lint and hair, you know. Because you see models like this, and 9 times out of 10, that it's just absolutely covered in shit. So yeah, very cool, wonderful stuff there. Love his face. He's just actual grimace. That guy.
Yeah,
he's so fucking ugly, and I love him. Right, moving on. Paul, would you like to? So that's from Linky. Paul, would you like to tell us who made this and why you've gone for it?
Yeah, so Warsmith Garrett, and I'm very simple. I see cool Raven Guard pose with lightning claws, and I say yes, please, we'll take that. Just very cool dynamic model. The lightning claw effect is awesome. The backpack is really cool with those wings, and yeah, I just anytime I see any sort of lightning claw thing, it just makes me happy, and I want lightning claws back on my Vanguard vets, please, GW.
Oh, don't remind me. Oh, that's a sin. That's actually such a sin. I swear I've seen this model before. I can't remember where it's from one of the online stores.
I think it's maybe the Corvus Corax repose. I'm not sure.
No, it's 100% a third-party model.
I'm bad at identifying models, which is great for this episode.
That's absolutely. I used to be really, really good. I'd have had this in a heartbeat like 2 years ago because I was really familiar with like the third-party sites as well. But for the life of me, but it's a very cool third-party model, and you're absolutely right. The lightning effect coming off the lightning claws is a splendid, splendid addition. I love the blue contrasting with the white. And Moots, if you're listening, you can just post the video of it like rotating around rather than the images. Honestly. So that's very, very, very cool. So thank you very much, Warsmith Garrett, Linky, Jokul, and Ally Bloodless. Thank you guys very, very much. If you would like to see your model as one of our miniatures of the week, just post it in the completed miniatures tab or one of the miniatures tab in the Astartes Anonymous Discord, link down below, and we'll pick it, because all we ever do is we start recording, or just before we start recording, we have a look, and we pick something. That's it. It's that simple. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the main topic. So today, one of the things we wanted to talk about was this idea of discussing miniatures and models we would like to see in Warhammer 40k, whether the idea is someone we'd like to see reflect someone or something from the lore we'd like to see reflected, or perhaps a gap to be filled in the sort of various army lists that exist in 40k and so on. We were going to do just 40k. However, I've got some for the Horus Heresy. Not a lot, some. And I know a certain person whose name rhymes with cock, who's got a couple for Necromunda as well. So, Zarek, do you want to kick us off with one, or do you want me to kick us off with one?
I think you should go first.
All right, so I've got a couple. I was going to quickly do like an order list of like my favorite ones. I didn't do it in time, so I'm just going to wing it. But I do have one. Like, out of all the ones I've got here, that in my little list that I've kind of thought about in advance, there is one that I would like to see above all others. And that is for the Agents of the Imperium faction. Now, for anyone who doesn't play an awful lot of tabletop or doesn't know a lot about the tabletop, the Agents of the Imperium faction it's kind of a bit of a third edition witch hunters army. It's a mix of Inquisition and assassin guys, and little odd fellows from other places as well. So it's kind of
somewhere to put 6 of the kill teams.
it's somewhere. It's a place to get like Imperial characters and units that don't necessarily have a fixed place in one of the main armies. And so for me, the one I'm about to say, you may think belongs in the Adeptus Custodes. But for me, I think it has a way better place as one of the Agents of the Imperium, and that would be none other than one of the Eyes of the Emperor. I'm going to get a quick image on screen now because I've forgotten to get the timestamp ready, so it's going to be slow on the screen. But what the Eyes of the Emperor basically are, for anyone who doesn't know, they are ostensibly there we go. It should be on the screen about now. The Eyes of the Emperor are custodians who have kind of pseudo-retired. If a custodian ages out and feels his or her reaction time slowing, they'll give up their role. They will stop being a custodian in pretty much every capacity, and they will go out into the Imperium, into the galaxy, to work as these superhuman operatives. Now, up until 10th edition, the role of the Eyes of the Emperor was very kind of like restricted. We didn't actually know much about them. It was just like these, 9-foot tall mega superhumans who worked as like the world's biggest spies. 10th edition came along with a whole page of information for the Eyes of the Emperor, kind of elaborated on it. It turns out the Eyes of the Emperor can be fucking anything. They've even been inquisitors as well. So the kind of application for an Eyes of the Emperor datasheet could really be anything. It could be all over the place. We also found in the 10th edition codex as well that Eyes of the Emperor, if they request it, are actually allowed to keep certain bits of their custodian war gear. So I think what it would essentially equate to, functionally, like in-game, so you could have it for pretty much any army, Imperial army, is like, hey, here's one guy, and he's got a stat line that's a little bit similar to like a Custodes character with a bunch of like he'd basically just be a mega assassin, right? Depending on how, what angle they wanted to take with it. But I think it'll be a really fun thing to have. Be a fun way of adding a single lone operative character who can really, fuck shit up for some of the armies that are, lacking something like that. Like a Sisters of Battle army, knights. God knows, knights need as many agents of the Imperium as possible.
Absolutely. I think as well, they should probably have some kind of role in a strategic element as well. If they've also got like some sort of, say, for abilities, they'd have something to generate command points or some other thing.
Yeah.
They feel like they should be tacticians within your army, and they need that
For
sort of
sure,
accommodated.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the thing. You don't just want to accidentally make a guy who can do everything. And the role of the eyes, beyond everything else that's said in the 10th Ed Codex, is, hey, we are information gatherers. We are spies first and foremost. Everything else kind of comes afterwards. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. A fella who has some sort of strategic element, but is ultimately someone you want to be very careful about getting into melee with at the same time, because it's still an ex-custodian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's that kind of classic trope of, the retired spy, and they're in a pub or whatever, and you start a fight with them, and they, even though they look old, they still take you to the cleaners, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I think one of the things as well is like the lone I don't know if are lone operatives still a thing in 11th? Yep. Can someone confirm that?
You said lone op. It's interesting because you can technically get pseudo lone op with the hidden rule, but that means you can't shoot. So lone op is still a thing.
Yeah. It would be funny because I know that Games Workshop are, generally speaking, very, very careful with what they give lone op to, because it would be very easy to give something lone op like fight firsts or some bullshit like that. And if it's got a decent enough melee profile, it could suddenly become a really big problem.
Yeah, they'd never give fights first and lone op to something like, let's say, a Primarch in 10th edition. Like, definitely not the Lion with his damage 4.
Well,
although I guess technically he's only lone up when something else is near him, but that's not exactly difficult to do. Obviously, fights first in 11th is a lot worse, but I see your point. I think with something like this, it sounds like you could do what they did with the Crucible of Champions with this, as there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. It's essentially kind of like a more free-form Crucible of the Champions, and then with like the war gear stuff, like you can have loads of different things, like maybe like you say, either command point generation or at the start of battle redeploy is another one for tactical stuff. And then they can have their cool equipment from when they were custodians, which would be nice and unique. So there's a lot of ways you can do this. It sounds like a cool idea. I didn't really have ideas what these eyes were, so interesting.
Well, I think another fun way of doing it, similar to the Crucible of Champions, without introducing that again, would be. Do you know how that? I don't know if they do it in 11th, but do you remember how demon princes work for different chaos gods, the different chaos marks?
Yeah, so you can add like a
you
chaos
could do
mark
something
to stuff still.
Yeah, you could do something kind of like that, where it's, hey, we've got the an Eye of the Emperor, and you've got these like something that's kind of a little bit equivalent to that, where you could say, Eye of the Emperor dash Tacticus, Strategius, Blade Champion Icus, etc., right? And to kind of like, right, to kind of inform what kind of dynamic it's meant to fill. It could just be a small change, right? It could just be like the ability it gets. The profile is generally uniform throughout the rest.
And you could do that quite easily with. I mean, you could do it similar to how they do some of the detachments where you're forced to put an enhancement on, and then you're just like you have to have one of these enhancements, and then that's another way of doing it, or simple war gear, right? But that kind of the main thing would be, because one of the things with this is Custodians already use a lot of the agents characters because they're very, very good. I played against a player who had no Custodians characters whatsoever, just had agents characters because they're so good. And I'm sure you could definitely find a way to balance this, but it is one of those ones where you give people too much freedom and they will find the worst way to abuse it. Which again, it's not something you should really like worry too much about, right? Like from the stuff I think about, I'm always worried about giving people choice and then that being an obvious one. Like if you think about anything where, oh, you got all this freedom, all this choice, like make this character that you can really customize. The problem is, unless you're really putting the effort in, someone's going to find the best way of doing it. And then this is what happened with Crucible of Champions exactly, is you look at it and go, okay, well, there's this extremely broken combo you could do here, and it just wipes the floor with everything. Which is a shame. But also, this is cool, and just don't use it in tournaments.
Yeah, well, I think there's kind of a mentality at GW where there is that thought in the back of their mind where it's like, we have to be careful about appeasing the hyper-competitive community, because if you appease them, you make a bit of a mess. And so it's like, but you still kind of have to, right? Otherwise, what you've just described happens, right?
And the thing is, it's similar with... I always compare this stuff to video games, because it's one of those ones where you talk about like the hyper-competitive people, and yes, obviously they're the ones who are going to find all this stuff. The problem is people who go to tournaments, it filters down to them, even if they don't know why it works. It will still then end up in casual tables because it's powerful, and even if you don't know how to use it, if you're playing against someone else who is like your skill level and they don't know how to beat it, it's going to be a problem. Like, you could give me the most competitive list in the world and put me against a competitive player, I'll still lose because they can beat me that way. But the problem is when you have this stuff that is a bit broken, that filters down and starts to muddy the waters everywhere else, which is a real shame. Like, and again, it's one of those ones where, like, for me and most people, it doesn't. But when it does come up, it does leave a sour taste, because you've just played a game of someone with a similar skill level, but they've looked up and found this ridiculous thing and beaten you with it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like net decks for MTG, and the comparison to video games is it's actually quite good that you've brought this up so early, because I've realized that this kind of conversation is going to be able to apply to almost everything we're going to talk about.
Sure.
So it is kind of good to get out of the way. But I remember when I was doing competitive Mordhau, for like the 10 people in the audience who know what Mordhau is, I was very good at Mordhau. I was playing tournaments and whatnot, but when it was at its peak. And one of the big problems that I personally had with the developers of that game is they had a casual game mode and a casual player base, and then they had the competitive game modes and the competitive player base, and those are two massively different animals. And I was always begrudging towards them for never picking one to adhere to, for picking one to please. And so you could always tell they were making a half-assed job of like trying to appease both at the same time. And you realize that all competitive stuff that has a casual element, or all casual things that have a competitive element, it's that same meat grinder where rarely are you ever going to please everyone, right?
I mean, if you look at something like back when I played WoW, Mythic Plus, you could go into a casual, very low key, but if you're the tank, they expect you to do the routes that the pros are doing. They expect you to know exactly where to pull, exactly which way to go, all the fancy tricks they do, and if you don't do them, they get mad at you. It's like, and then you play against the people who are at the top, or at least in 40k. Like, I've met a lot of people who are that top level. Nicest people in the world. Like, they are super friendly, joking around, having a laugh. They're great people to play with. But that kind of competitive stuff goes to the mid tables, and that's where you have that kind of concept of like the mid table terror. The people who want to be higher up, don't have the skill for it, are trying to get these combos or these net lists and not doing it properly, and they get antsy there, which is starting to be kind of like not as much in the tournaments anymore. But it is weird kind of seeing from both perspectives as a casual player, and meeting a lot of the high level players, how the perspective of the high level players versus what they actually are is very different.
Yeah, well, I suppose you very specifically get a really interesting perspective, considering, I mean this with no disrespect, I mean this with love, actually. In fact, what's a good word? I mean this with admiration. You must get a really wonderfully unique perspective, being the only guy who keeps rocking up with 18 fucking centurions.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where now that in 11th I've started to, like, at the end of 10th, and now I'm reducing the number of centurions, because it kind of got to the point where the joke was over. Especially 36 centurions was hilarious for one tournament.
You did. What the fuck?
I went to the South Coast Super Major this year with 36 centurions and an ancient, because that's all I could afford, and I needed a warlord.
Well, you must have. I mean, I get the idea about the joke
36
wearing
kids
out.
and their
But
dad.
Yeah. I won a game. I actually won a game.
Because it's a birthday.
I won a game
Oh,
against
goddamn, hell
Guard
yeah.
because it was
Oh,
Purge
wow.
the Foe, and I have 7 units, and he had 20-something.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Meat. Yeah.
Is 1 ancient and 32 centurions technically a man on his dog list?
Pretty much. I won a game, and then immediately the next game, I lost in less than an hour because I went against knights and I tried to alpha strike them turn 1 and rolled badly, and then got tabled by turn 2 and lost 100 to 18, and it was the worst luck I've ever done. It was against a guy I've met before. I'd met the guy before, and I'd forgotten his name, but I didn't forget his list. And I looked at his list, I was like, I know this guy. I know this list. It's going to be quick. Either I'm going to get into his face and kill 2 knights turn 1, or I'm not, and I'm going to die. And it was the second one.
Yeah. Well, 40k is like that sometimes, where it is the roll of the dice. Not even a roll of the dice. The flip of the coin, right from the word go.
And with 36 Centurions, like, even the people who were like top table stuff found it very funny, and it was very funny. There's a guy called Ben Jones who was the first player I ever played at like a major tournament, who is one of the best players ever. Yeah. And this was when, if you know much about tabletop, when more Daka was the orcs were completely broken. So my very first like proper competitive game was against one of the best players in the world on what at the time was one of the most broken lists in the world, with my 18 Centurion list, and he found it very funny. And with 36 Centurions as well, people like some of the pros coming up to me were like, we love your videos, we share them around with like between the teams and stuff. And I think it's the it's that kind of stuff which I think is it's one of those things to point out where people will bring the list they want to bring. Like I went to a tournament recently where someone brought a like 18 outrider White Scars list, which was hilarious. Or like a someone's first tournament there, it was like a 30 Terminator Imperial Fist list. People still do that all the time, and it is just that kind of like that. It's that merging point between the competitive and the casual, where this kind of stuff breaks down, and it's such a small overlap in the grand scheme of things. But it's that point where the casual people are playing their fun whatever list and having a good time. The pros, they're going to kick their ass, but they're going to be really nice to them and like help them and stuff. And then there's that middle bit of people who aren't casual and want to be competitive but aren't good enough, and that's where and they get frustrated by it, and that's the grinding point. It's that middle point, which something like this is perfect for both sides. Where you can make your eye you make your Eye of the Emperor the coolest thing you want for your casual crusade game, and it's awesome and it feels really fun and thematic. But the top tables are like, oh, we can make this really cool, interesting combo, and then in the middle where they meet, you have problems. And
well, it's fun though because you say problems. I'm not disagreeing with you, but you say problems, but you said a minute ago how the joke has kind of run its course. But you bring 36 Centurions and like you must notice everyone smiling as you're setting
exactly
up.
Right.
It just grins from cheek to cheek fucking everywhere. Even people who aren't playing you look over. Is that cunt playing 36 fucking Centurions? You know what I mean?
It's a lot of fun to just bring out my army on my 2 trays and go, that's my army, there you go. 36 Centurions. The reason I say the joke is over is the joke, like, if I took that to another tournament, everyone would still love that list, except me.
Yeah, of course, right.
Because it is terrible to play. It was just, like, literally, I think I said this in a video, I played more Warhammer in one game of the next tournament than the entirety of that tournament. Because if you have 36 models that move 4 inches, you go, okay, I've moved more 4 inches. It's your turn. Oh, you've moved stuff out. Okay, I'm going to move again and try and do stuff. Oh, I didn't do much. Okay, I'm dead. Like,
well, in one like brief answer then, because you if anyone's going to know, you're going to know. What, as someone, the Centurion guy, what is the optimal amount of Centurions?
If you want to have good amounts of Centurions, it's 6 to 9, maybe 6 to 12. at the moment, again, this might depend on the balance date coming out this week. I'm trying to get 12 in, and I think 12 might be okay. 18 is the point where it's still doable, and also funny. Anywhere between 18 and 36 is pointless because you're making your list bad, but you're not getting anything out of it. And then you get to 36 again, where it becomes the joke. Like, if you have 33 Centurions, like, what's the point? Because you're not going to have much extra to do stuff with, and you also haven't gone to 36. There's a lot of models that are like that. You might have some ideas, like when we go through this podcast, like where it's like, if you have multiples of them, there's a point where it's good, and there's a point where it's funny, and anything between those 2 points is just not worth thinking about. Because it doesn't do either of those 2 things. And sometimes that number is the same. Like Rogel Dawns, maybe. Like 3 is, well, it used to be 3 was pretty good, 6 is funny, and then between that, not as funny. And then something like, I can't think of an example now, but there was something else which like having wraiths for Necron wraiths, synoptic wraiths. Like 18 is both funny, but also very good.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Sorry, I knew we'd have to get I knew we'd have to get the Centurion chunk of the recording out the way. I'm very glad we got it in early because that whole section is what like half the audience is tuning in for. So very
you can all go now.
Grateful.
The retention of the video is going to be terrible, but don't worry. You have to stay to the end for my other part of Centurions.
Excellent. We got Centurion 2, Electric Boogaloo. Zarek, give us something. We're going to ignore Croc because I can't be asked to talk about Necromunda. Zarek.
No, hang on. Okay, you can't be saying that and then going to fucking Zarek, right?
Yeah, but Zarek, I know what's I say I don't know. I've got a rough idea about what Zarek wants to talk about, and none of them are fucking Necromunda. Because you're going to go about Necromunda, and no one's going to know but Zarek.
That's at least half the recordlisten,
Zarek, if you bring up a Necromunda model right now, it will be the funniest thing.
No, please,
right.
Please.
Listen, guys,
delay the Necromunda onslaught for at least a little bit. I beg
all right,
you.
sorry, I'll give you a choice here.
the tide.
There's a few factions that I've been picking things out for, and I can get into them, but I want to get into that faction with my teeth.
Okay.
So I'll let you guys pick. Up here, I've got Imperial Knights, Eldar, and Leagues of Votann.
Vote up.
I think Knights would be my pick. What do you
I'd go Votann as well, actually. I quite like Votann.
Okay, interesting. Cool. So, I think that the squats in Necromunda really are missing a particular character. No, I'm not. I wish I'd prepared. No. So, there are 2 big picks for the Leagues of Votann. Now, obviously, gameplay-wise, they're kind of missing, like, a lot.
Yeah.
But, from my standpoint, as someone who likes to collect more thematic armies, there are 2 big pieces that I see missing from themed lists, right? These are some sort of the things that I think hold the Leagues of Votann back, is that it's very difficult to do a themed list unless you really get into kit bashing, you know?
Okay.
And to kind of remedy these problems, I think there are 3 options that we have here, and 3 suggestions I have, beginning firstly with a vehicle, which is some kind of Chthonian-specific transport, something similar to the termite assault drill.
What, you mean like a drop pod, but a subterranean drop pod?
No. Okay,
exactly.
It's a termite assault drill, but instead of the side doors being regular doors, it's like the big Votann faces and the doors of the mouth.
Oh, that's quite cool, actually.
I think that's cool, but I think the problem, I think the only argument I would have with that is, whilst thematically I think that absolutely makes sense, I think the Chthonians are one of the more interesting elements of the Leagues of Votann for absolute surety. People like, I remember someone being like, why are they running around with shirts off, like, and why do they have so much defense? It's like, no. Their skin is like harder than armor, and that's part of their shtick, which is cool, right? But the problem I have with that is they already have one really consistent transport unit, and it's kind of like, I feel. I don't know what your second you're going to state is, but I feel like a bigger priority than another transport would be dreadnought equivalent, because every faction has their own dreadnought equivalent, and I feel like whatever the fuck that's going to be for the leagues of Votann is going to be so fucking cool. Every single version of it that I've seen, every fan version, of which there are dozens and dozens, every single one of them is cool as fuck.
Well, it's really funny you say that, Tom, because there is one. And it's in Necromunda.
For fuck's sake.
4-digit Exo Driller, baby!
Yeah, it's in Necromunda. So here's one of the things that I limited myself with when I was picking these things is I'm not just going to say an old model that we don't have anymore, unless I think it's super important. I'm not going to say, oh, this model should be in this game. No, I'm coming up with something new. And the thing about the Chthonian transport is that it is canon. It is in the High Karl's Oath. These things are used to assault a subterranean fortress. It's a real canon thing. All of the things on my list already exist in the canon.
That's very cool. That's a very cool way. Not everything that I've come up with is in canon already, so that works really, really well. What was your second one, or was it this?
Well, there's two more for Leagues of Votann, but they kind of go together as the same. Okay. They are two variant characters. One for the Hernkin, a Prospect Master, and one for the Chthonians, so that you can actually run thematic lists that have a character that pairs with a slant there. And we do know that Hernkin Prospect Masters do exist. Myrton, the main character of the High Karl's Oath, she was a Prospect Master before returning to serve as Karl.
Yep. So just so everyone who doesn't know, the Hernkin are the Votann who have the Hernkin Pioneers are the guys on like the hover trikes, and the Hernkin Jaegers are the kill team. So it's the Votann that have the lovely like big winter jackets and the shotguns and the knives and stuff.
That kill team book has one of the greatest Votann adjacent lines of dialogue ever, and that is Thoric, unholster our means of negotiation. For the cunts that all have shotgun revolvers.
Oh, yeah, quite. It's also, the Hernkins are also the source of one of the coolest bits of artwork that I'll just post on the screen now. This is the Hernkin doing trade negotiations. This is official art, trade negotiations with one of the Adepts Mechanicus. This art is, I believe, by Lewis Jones.
We love Lewis Jones.
One of the big GW artists right now. I think he did the last one as well, actually, the one of the Eye of the Empress. Yeah, good old Lewis Jones. Yeah. Right, just to avoid Necromunda for a few minutes longer, Paul, please save us from Necromunda.
Yeah. Chthonian Berserks are cool. There is one character they released recently that does lead them. It's a named character. Berix.
Oh, him, yeah.
Berix Stornbrew. But I like the idea of having a Chthonian Berserk specific one, because they have the Jaeger specific transport, the is it the Capricus? Yeah, the Capricus can split Jaeger specifically. And having that for, well, I'd say having that for Berserks would be cool, but also I know from experience that Berserks are scary. They're horrifying creatures. They so my first team tournament, one of my teammates took, I think it was a list of 30 or 40 Chthonian Berserks.
There you go. There's another one. You bring the absolute cap
which was part meme, but also not, because, good lord, you might think, they're a 5-up save, 1 wound each, but they have a 4-up feel no pain, and they can fight on death, and their weapons are also anti-monster, anti-vehicle, and there's a lot of those attacks. So in the first game, he went up against a Knights player who was like, I'll pair into Votann V Knights, that should be fine. It was not fine.
Yeah.
I think he went 4-1 individually over that weekend, and then I think he did 4-1 at another event with lots and lots of Berserks. I think he went up to 50 at one point, which very, very cool.
With so many Berserks, did he split the weapons, or did he just put the concussion maul on everything?
I think it was just concussion mauls across the board. Because it's anti-monster, anti-vehicle, so if it goes into vehicles, it's always going to be winning on 3s, and against anything like anything Space Marine below is going to be on 3s, and then anything higher is going to be 4s at least, but then there's also loads of other buffs that you can put on, but I can't remember exactly. But the idea of having kind of a drill transport that can deep strike them in would be really cool, and again, really thematic, and I think just having... It feels like Votann because they have a lot of different of these transports. Obviously, you've got the Honky Tonk, the Sagittor, the Capri Sun. Like, it would be cool if they became a faction where each individual part had a specialized transport, because they're very, it's very industrious that way. Like, it's very proactive.
A
Very,
bit like the Dark Eldar in a way,
Yeah.
right? Where they have the 3 main strains that all have their own themes.
exactly right, and I think that would be very cool. And with the Dark Eldar or the Drukari, it's the 3 main strains that all basically hate each other. But with this, it's several strains that all like each other, so they actually worked. Like obviously, you can use the Capri Sun carrier for non-Jaegers and stuff. So having being able to mix and match will be really cool. So I like those ideas, and I think Votan are cool. I think Votan are one of the one of those armies that I'm on the cusp of being one of those armies that I'd want to collect. And anything that kind of makes them more just bulks that army up, like you were saying as well. The having a dreadnought equivalent, it'd be very cool,
really fun. Yeah,
bigger Iron Kid.
Yeah.
they've already got big.
The Steeljacks are really good. I like the Steeljacks are one of those ones that really does help. The that idea of whether it's the kind of the robot versions or the dwarfy versions, they're all the same kin. I think the Steeljacks really help that, as well as just being cool looking. So
one of the things
the
I love
equals just a big Steeljack. Problem solved.
One of the things I love most about the Votan, because I'm not huge into Votan, but I am obsessed with the visual stylization of their weapons. The Votan plasma guns are so fucking cool. The ion guns are so fucking cool. They're bold. I remember saying to Caligoon is one of our one of the regulars in the AA Discord. He is the biggest Votan guy I've ever met. He adores them. Every single word of lore that's been available for them, he's read multiple times, which is crazy. I mean, it's not too crazy. In any event, I remember lamenting to him very recently that the what's the name of the heavy weapons squad?
The Thunderkin. I remember saying to him recently that I really lamented that the worst option for the Thunderkin, generally speaking, is the bolt cannon. Because the bolt cannon is absolutely one of the most gorgeous bolt weapons in 40k I've ever seen. I genuinely adore the visual element of it. It looks so fucking cool, and there's almost no reason to bring one over the other 2 choices unless you're doing something really funky with your list. And like you've kind of both exposed a moment ago, it's really hard to do something funky with the Votan list at the moment. It might be different now. I don't know, because one of the reasons that I think it was bad in 10th edition was its AP1. And AP1 in 10th edition might as well meant AP0. In 11th, AP1 is a lot better.
It's AP2.
The bolt cannon's AP1, I think.
Is it really?
Could be. Oh, it's AP2. Otherwise, AP1.
Well, no. Sorry, I mean, like, AP1 in 11th edition is AP2 in 10th edition.
Yeah, yes, essentially, yeah, you're right. Because you don't reduce the AP anymore. So obviously, in 10th, AP2 would become AP1. AP1 was AP0. Now AP1 is AP1. So you see stuff like the new Eradicators with the heavy bolters being used because that AP1 punches through now.
Oh, I see.
Like, you're no longer going against Space Marines and saving on 3s, it's saving on 4s, which is, that does make a big difference. Especially when it's sustained hits too. Obviously, hitting on potentially 5s, but then obviously, I don't know the full Votan rules. I'm sure you can get that down. It does feel like it might be a better choice now. So, if you like the bolt cannons, you could probably find a use for them. It's similar with the Inceptors, where for some armies, especially for stuff like Raven Guard or Shadowmark Talon, the heavy bolt pistol things are better, even though they're only AP1, but just because you can get a lot more shots and you can buff them up in better ways compared to the fewer shots you get from the plasma. So, I would say maybe the bolt cannons are, people might be sleeping on them now.
That'd be really cool if they make a comeback for 11. That'd be very fun. Right, let us move on. I'm going to Croc, please, just, if you have to talk about Necromunda, can we save it for later? Can we stick to 40k for another 10 minutes, please?
Look,
please.
Man, we've run the circle. You gotta let it run its course.
Okay, I'm gonna go take a Xanax. All right, go on. Crack it out.
All right, so I don't know where you've got this idea that I was going to do Necromunda. I mean, you play Necromunda, you want to do you kit bash the mob that invent the stats, right? I don't need GW to do that shit. I do it myself.
Great.
Which brings me on to my main point. You basically did what I was going to do, but with a different flavor. Because models I want to see in 40k is the retinue of the Von Valances Rogue Trader in the hit CRPG Rogue Trader made by Alcan Games.
Fuck's sake.
As a high-power modular command team style unit for Imperial agents and or any army in the fucking game. Oh yeah!
Wouldn't that be a much better... I'm not about to talk about 40k either. Wouldn't that be like a much better kill team?
They'd be too good for kill team.
You reckon?
I can't lie. Abelard himself could solo a kill team, man. I've seen him do it.
Abelard would fit right in as one of the rejects in Darktide, right?
Abelard had that fucking
yeah.
hive sorted out in like 2 seconds flat. Not even that much glazing. That guy's a logistics professional, mate.
We the editor for the shorts had a character. So obviously we take artwork from official sources as opposed to fan art, and we had a short where we needed a Navy guy being fucking embarrassed by a Sister of Battle, and our shorts editor very bravely decided to use an image of Abelard as that character, forgetting that Abelard is this beloved guy. And like half the comments were people being really upset that we disgraced Abelard in that way. It was quite sad. It was quite sad. So you're basically what? You're pining for a exceedingly busted Imperial agents command squad?
Well, okay. So you know how they've kind of been doing this thing recently? You get Titus and his cronies. You've got Huron and his cronies.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I swear there's a third one. I can't remember.
You used to have the Court of the Archon, which you don't have anymore. I imagine that will come back as that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing where it's like a big HQ and a suite of professionals you can attach to them or run separately elsewhere in the army, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this case, the Von Valances retinue would of course be, they would be your specialists. You've got shooter people, defense-oriented people, melee people, command-oriented people, fucking psychic bullshit with a navigator. But the main thing I want to see is a fully modular kit to build your own rogue trader with rule sets that either reflect one of the 3 paths you can take them, that being dogmatic, iconoclast, or heretical.
Man,
Completely
you really just want to see
how
like the
you run
rogue
an
trader
army.
game in tabletop, right? That is what you're pining for. Am I correct?
I have my biases.
I know you do.
So, no, I forgot a sentence. So, what Croc wants is a Necromunda gang in Warhammer 40k.
You shut your mouth if you know what's good for you.
I had to catch myself then when you said Necromunda. I felt
Attacked?
what's it called? The stress hormone.
Cortisol.
Say again?
Cortisol.
Cortisol, yeah, my cortisol spiked. Calls time to freeze for me for a minute. I had to fight my way out of it. All right, I'm coming back round. I'm going to come back round for one. Thank you, Croc, for for only tertiarily mentioning Necromunda. I really appreciate that.
It's a great thing. This is the thing I had the most notes for, and it's not that much notes because I play mainstream 40k, but I've said before my understanding of the rules and balance in the game is very like closed circle, Oxbow Lake style, because I only ever really play with my friends because I have a consistent play group.
You are a bigger fan of your skirmish games in general, aren't you, really? Just even outside of 40k.
It's funny you should mention.
No,
no,
you put him on the other thing!
Why did I do this?
Because you forgot about the other one. You see, there's this certain game system, right? The GW seems to have left in the dust of it. And, when they did its big re-release recently, right? There was a few things missing that a lot of people were a bit unhappy
Dear
about,
listeners,
right?
Croc is one of the 10 people who actually play as Legions Imperialis. We apologize for the intervening assault.
Go on, Croc,
Now,
get out your system.
The one thing Legions Imperialis is missing, as we're all aware, is fucking Xenos, right? I personally think that's what maybe killed the game, is making it fucking Horus Heresy specifically. That's cool and all. I like
right.
my Horus Heresy units. Yeah. I want to field Orc Gargants. I want to have 12 of them on a row on my shelf. Sitting there. They're big. They're bulbous. They don't hit for shit, but they're fat and I love them.
I think that's fair. I think because the rumor was going around for like 18 months that Games Workshop were gonna bring back Epic Scale, And I remember like halfway through the reveal, it's like, oh my god, look at these Space Marines. And it's like, wait a minute. Those are tiny Horus Heresy models. And the sigh was so loud you could hear it halfway across the country.
Yeah, it was really depressing.
The models are great though; they are very cool, and I love the almost the renewed interest in quotation marks in epic scale Titanicus models. That's very fucking cool.
Oh, by the way, great idea I heard. It was on the Horus Heresy subreddit, but someone was suggesting that you'd get the aircraft models for Imperialis / Aeronautica Imperialis, which is gone, my beloved, and you use them to represent the aircraft in Horus Heresy, given that it's a much more narrative game. You can kind of take that liberty, and they're small because they're far away.
They're up in the sky.
Exactly, and I am actually very enthused by this idea. I think I might pitch that to my 5th edition group.
That's a fun one. I think I personally would fucking poo-poo that because I would be too busy laughing. Look at the tiny Stormhawk. He's too small. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be chuckling a little bit at that. I think.
You would stop when the air wing of 3 of them comes in and destroys several units.
It would be the only viable way, really, just from a logistics standpoint, to ever run a Marauder bomber anywhere, right?
Yeah. What is it? It's like £400, that kit?
Yeah.
Both physically and monetarily, yeah, it's fucking massive. As much as people joke about the Manta being a dinner plate, that thing is very much just a huge resin, rectangle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's a
shame as well, because the Marauder Bomber is by far one of my favorite things in 40k. It's just so cool. And I'm gonna nip it in the bud there before I fucking divulge to Aeronautica Chaos or, God forbid, Battlefleet Gothic.
I appreciate that. Zarek could end up joining you on Gothic, so we can do another day. We can theory craft Gothic and Imperialis another day. Not today. I want to bring it back to 40k. Unless Paul, unless you have any input on any of these topics, I'm going to bring it back to 40k.
I don't know about planes. I like my Storm Raven. Storm Raven's cool.
Storm Raven's very cool. We like the Storm Raven. That's very good.
I have one problem with your idea for the rogue traders is that Imperial agents aren't real and they can't hurt you. So I don't know why you're making a unit for an army that doesn't exist. It's a bit.
The problem is, right? I've done very minimal planning for this episode because I kind of forgot about it. But
yeah, we know.
The two big ideas I had, and one I neglected to mention. The first was obviously the Von Valancius crew, because I love the Rogue Trader CRPG, and I'd love to just get a multi-part Rogue Trader kit ever, anywhere. I think that would be one of the best kits we could ever produce.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the other option potentially for Imperial Agents was?
A real codex?
And can you take a guess based on my first answer?
If it's got anything to do with the Rogue Trader game, I won't know because I haven't played it yet.
No, it's similar vein.
Are you going to something Darktide?
It was the Rejects, yeah.
The Rejects got models and they were horrific because they just reused old models.
Yeah, the Rejects didn't get models; they got stat lines.
Yeah, they got stat lines. Yeah, that was a real punch in the fucking belly for anyone who enjoyed Dark. I remember that and being I don't think I've ever been so disappointed. But it's fun because the Skitarii model would actually just be straight up a Skitarii plucked from the Skitarii kit, which is fun.
Yeah, but I think I wrote this idea down, either forgetting the Skitarii existed. No, I definitely forgot the Skitarii was in Dark Tide, I can't lie.
It was very recent, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. And you're all forgetting the Hive Scum. We're not even talking about them.
There's a lot of Hive Scum representation for tabletop, but we're not going to start talking about Necromunda. So thank you, Croc. Right, I'll follow Zarek's example. So I've got 2 more Agents of the Imperium. I've got 2 Sisters of Silence suggestions. I've got 3 Space Marine ones, but they're all kind of one thing. They're all so I've got 2 Space Marine. I've technically got 4, but 3 of them are one thing. And I've got a Knights one and a couple of Horus Heresy ones. Are there any takers for any of those?
Imperial Knights, please.
No.
Oh,
why would you even offer it as an option then?
Sorry, I meant that your vote is less valuable.
Oh.
So, Agents of the Imperium, Sisters of Silence, Space Marines, Knights, or Horus Heresy.
We've had surprisingly large amount of Agents of the Imperium.
Yeah. Let's go with the Space Marines. I'm interested in your 2 and/or 3 and/or 4 ideas. It was kind of unclear how many ideas there were.
Yeah. Well, there's 4 ideas, but there's technically only 2 ideas because 3 of them are just one thing.
See,
This is.
okay.
I'll make it simple. I'll make it simple.
Yeah, okay.
So anyone who's been into sort of the Badab era of models and the old Forge World models will know about how beloved these things are. One of them got a plastic kit a while back and got discontinued and got put into Legends in the last year or so. But I prefer the resin one, and that would be updated for 40k, for Primaris, for the Redemptor frame. A Chaplain, Ironclad, and Venerable Dreadnought for the Redemptor frame. The Badab era Chaplain, Venerable, and Ironclads are the most gorgeous dreadnoughts, period. Was it the Mark IV Dreadnought, the Mark IV Ironclad? It is the most beautiful thing. I kit bashed one for my homebrew. I love it. The Venerable Dreadnought back then, same thing, beautiful. Actually, the plastic Venerable is pretty good, so I won't complain there. But the resin Chaplain Dreadnought is to this day in my top 3 best looking dreadnoughts. The thing is fucking gorgeous. And from a tabletop gameplay perspective, we can talk about how Space Marines have everything. Yada, yada, yada. Don't fucking care. There is a place on the tabletop for all 3 of these, just like there was back in the day when these did exist. You know?
Yeah. I would like to add to this, because one thing that I've always wanted to see for Thousand Suns is a Psyker Dreadnought.
Yeah, well, it's weird that the Blood Angels would get one, and I'm okay with the Blood Angels having one, right? There's lore. It's actually quite funny, this, because we covered this in a video ages and ages ago. The Thousand Suns were the first legion to actually conceive of a librarian dreadnought, and Magnus brought those designs. This was before Nikea. Magnus brought those designs to his cousin legions, and every single one of them went, no, we want nothing to do with this, except for Sanguinius, who was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. And that's actually the inferred origin of the Blood Angels librarian dreadnought, Magnus the Red. And so it's a little bit weird that...
Well, actually, Sanguinius didn't go, oh, let's have that. What it seems to be is the case is that the Blood Angels discovered the capability to make their Psycho Dreadnoughts. I think it was around about M36 or so, when they were working on the Furioso pattern, and they were trawling through their old vaults of information, and just suddenly they stumbled upon the information necessary to make a Librarian Dreadnought that sustains psychic powers.
Oh, I see.
Presumably, yes. They found the old shared information
from Magnus. That's very fun. So yeah, so there is lore to support, in the same way there's lore to support the Blood Angels having librarian dreadnoughts. There is just as much lore to support the Thousand Suns getting their own one. It's really weird because the Thousand Suns got those fucking gangly automata,
the Sekitar robots, which I like the Sekitar robots.
They're fine.
I think they're really cool.
I wish they were
bigger.
But if the Thousand Suns were going to get something robotic, I would certainly say that your suggestion of a librarian dread or a sorcerer dreadnought,
any sort of psychic dreadnought. Obviously, it would be like a hell brute size, but like any sort of psychic dreadnought would just be cool.
Well, I'll tell you what. As almost a compromise there, I'd say it'd be a little bit bigger than a hell brute. Reason being is that, from a thematic standpoint, the legions all have their own Terminators, and from Chaos to Loyalist in 40k, it's all Indomitus, except for the Thousand Suns, whose Terminators are wearing Scarab Occult, which is obviously a modified form of Tartaros Terminator armor, and Tartaros Terminator armor and the Contemptor Dreadnought are the exact same design language. So I would just update the Osiris pattern dreadnought from the Horus Heresy in the same way they updated the Tartaros Terminator armor to fit 40k.
I'll even say you could make it Saturnine. Make a Saturnine Psyker Terminator Dreadnought thing. Saturnine Dreadnought Psyker for Thousand Suns. Just because it'll be big and chunky and I like it.
Paul Tom's got some opinions about Saturnine, so he's not going to respond to that.
Oh, that's fair enough.
He just loves Saturnines. As much as I love Necromunda, he loves Saturnine Dreadnoughts.
Croc, you're getting castrated when this records.
Saturnines are... I've built some of my Saturnine Terminators, but I didn't put the shoulders on. And I think they look cooler without the shoulders.
A lot of people do. I've seen that's a really popular thing to do. Yeah, that's a really strange one.
It's the fucking... Oh, it's Mini Wargamer Pete, isn't it? Did a Grey Knights conversion of a shoulderless Saturnine.
Actually, really cool.
Yeah. When I first saw them, I was like, those shoulders are a bit silly looking. They're a bit too big. But then I saw them in person. I was like, actually, they're really cool. And then I saw shoulderless versions. I was like, they're actually a bit cooler. I prefer them without the shoulders. But
Yeah. Well, I've seen
yeah.
people put Terminator shoulders on them, like traditional Terminator shoulders, and look really, because they're big, but they're not. They still get to keep that really powerful Saturn 9 frame.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. I saw a really cool. Aragon sent it to me ages ago. It was a really cool, like, here's my custom chapter master to Proxy's Marnius Calgar, and it was a. The Howling Griffins, the sort of the quartered red and yellow,
the kind of paint job that if you're doing it, you're a psychopath. But yeah,
it was
the
beautifully painted.
The best drip on any.
It was.
I remember this one actually.
It was a beautifully painted Howling Griffins Saturnine Terminator with normal Terminator shoulders to Proxy's minus Calgar, and again, I'm like the number one Saturnine hater, and I looked at it, I thought that is gorgeous. It's so fucking good,
Yeah, but go back to your point. Like any dreadnought, like realistically, the dreadnoughts are characters, right? So you'd think you'd have a chaplain one, or a librarian one. Like a chaplain dreadnought would make sense. Like you can keep people in line and be even bigger than them.
Yeah. Well,
look at my massive baby. Look at him, yes. We put some Egyptian symbols on him, and now he can cast magic.
Exactly.
And shit, yes.
Well, that's the crazy thing about the Chaplain, Venerable, Ironclad, and, in your case, a Source Librarian or Sorcerer Dreadnought. All of them, as far as, like, precedent, both in lore and on the tabletop, it all already exists. Yeah. It's all just there. Just make the model, because God knows we'll buy it. No one turns down new dreadnoughts ever. It's free money. Yeah. It's free money. Just make
people are ready for dreadnought characters after Space Marine 2. They want to have a guy who just yells, "Where's Magnus?" and then throws a rock at a Helldrake. Like, people are ready for that.
The people desire more cranky old men.
Exactly.
Actually, I'll jump in. I'll jump in there. I'm going to go try and find. His name is Furnace. I found it fucking instantly. There is an Iron Hands Clan Rauken character called Furnace. He was Iron Father Furnace, and he got basically turned into a sloppy set of lungs and a head after trying to solo a Titan. Don't even think about how that happened. Anyways, they found the set of lungs and a head and went, "Fuck me, Furnace has been flattened," and they put him inside a Vendread, and he became a Venerable Dreadnought. And as a singular piece of lore, there is no other lore where this has happened. He is the only Marine known, so it might have happened, but he's the only Marine known at the turn of the millennium to be transferred from a Venerable Dreadnought into a Redemptor Dreadnought. And so what I would say is to introduce the Venerable Redemptor kit with a character model for Furnace, with a slightly different data sheet that can be used across the board as a Venerable Redemptor. I think that would be fucking sick. And God knows the Iron Hands need it. The Iron Hands, they really need it.
Don't you like Canuck Var?
I do like Canuck Var, actually. Do you know about his lore? His lore is I'm not going to go into it now because I'll be here for ages, but his lore is crazy. He's actually really fucking cool. I do like that guy very much.
But they do need more than 2 models.
They do need more. Somehow the Raven Guard have more characters than the Iron Hands.
Is it maybe like a thing that Iron Hands players just can't count to 3, actually?
They have the Valve problem.
That's very fun. Right. Let's get away from Space Marines. Zarek, I think I know which one you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about it?
I want to talk about Knights.
Want to talk about Knights?
Yeah.
I want to talk about Knights. And
I know you want to talk about Knights.
I gotta say, guys.
Oh, let me get the artwork on the screen. I'll get my artwork lined up because I found the only good piece of artwork for what it is that you're about to talk about in preparation for this stream.
I do. No. I have images ready. I have images ready.
Please, you can talk about fucking sacristans.
No.
Well, Croc, what I'm about to share firstly is Household Guard. These are a must. These are an absolute must for Knights. Because, Paul, as I'm sure you're aware, people will so frequently have to bring in agents to reliably do the objective play, right?
Yeah,
of
if they're
Knights.
cowards.
The noble way of doing things is to table your opponent by turn 2, then they can't score anything.
It seems to me that most people just bring 5 big knights and run at me, and I go, haha, I'll shoot one with centurions. Oh, wait, I've put my centurions in line of your other big knight. Oh, whoops, that was a mistake. I'm all about if you're playing knights, play knights. Like, don't don't be all this. Oh, I'm going to bring agents to score. No, you decided to play knights, 3 Knight Lancers and 2 Knight Atroposes, and just run at me as fast as you can. You signed up for this.
Yeah.
Don't be a coward.
Zarek's going to disagree with that heavily.
Well, see, this is why I think they need this, right? They need to be able to have an infantry unit without breaking their theme. And I think from a mechanics and gameplay standpoint, the Household Guard should not be equipped just with weapons or so. They should be equipped with banners as they parade in behind their lords. And their whole thing is perhaps that they provide better OC to their nearby big knights or something. Maybe some obscene objective characteristics on those things.
Well, I think the
What,
thing
what if,
about
what
them-
if like household knights are a war gear option?
Oh, the Household Guard are a war gear. They're war gear.
What they are, you know how there's some rules that allow you to make sticky objectives. That's what they are. They're your sticky objective marker.
Oh, that's very funny. Okay, so here's the thing about the Household Guard in the lore, Paul, because it turns out we actually found out recently that a lot of people don't know about the Household Guard. Even Knight players don't know about the Household Guard.
That surprises me a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But they are unanimous in the lore. Just from a lore standpoint for a minute, they're unanimous in the lore across both Loyalists and Chaos Knights. Both of these artworks are on the screen now, unless Moots has got rid of them already, in which case Moots pay deduction. They are both real things. And so what we know about them is they don't have heavy weapons. They don't have any armor support. Again, in the lore, no heavy weapons, no armor support. And the weapons they do have are kind of dog shit. They are literally just there to be landfill. And so I think the way you balance this is you, unlike Agents of the Imperium, you make it so that you can take like however fucking much Night Guard that you want, but they're very clearly a little bit overcosted for what they actually do. And you create a unit that very clearly is there to be cannon fodder, and do stuff with objectives, right? It's a fun one, and people are going to do this bullshit. I mean, as you probably know better than we do, people do this bullshit with Agents of the Imperium anyway. I would even go as far to say remove Agents of the Imperium for Knight players and force them to use these instead.
Yeah.
Because this has a thematic place there.
I can, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I think it would be fun if they are like just some. It's nice to have something that my Vanguard vets can go after without feeling like I'm just throwing them at the leg of a knight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If I may, sorry, go ahead.
So, tabletop wise, the care you have to take is that knights are actually still quite good at doing objectives, because especially in 11th now you can just go purge or take and hold, and it doesn't matter as much. So, but I do like the idea of having that unit baked in, because if it sounds like, because it's so intrinsic to the lore, it not being there doesn't make sense, because you can add one of the detachments you're able to add like Skitari or Admech into it.
Or cultists to the chaos ones.
Ones, right? Like having these guys that are literally just there to sort of wave a banner about and go, yeah, go team. That would be actually very funny.
Yeah.
That I would enjoy that, because it's like these guys are there. They do nothing in combat. They have no shooting. They're there to just support your knights and do actions or whatever. But mostly they're just there to go team, and they just get blended by stuff. It would be quite good to have that kind of thing.
You could do so much. You could give them the biggest. I'm going to do my Donald Trump. The biggest banners, the best banners. You know what? You give them the most insanely massive fucking banners. You got
make them take up at least 10 inches in the carry case. No disputes.
Make them absolutely awful to carry.
Banners to the sky. But yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
Like, say Triumph of St. Catherine style, you could have them on big bases so they don't break with the style of knights, but they do something weird. They have a weird buffing effect.
Yeah, because the Triumph of St. Catherine is one of the weirdest profiles, because it's got the profile of almost the profile of a vehicle. It's got 18 wounds, 3 up, 4 up, but then it's T3, which is just and it has 6 buffs you can give. So that, taking that idea, kind of obviously making it a little bit less potent and putting them onto these units that could be battle line would be good, because then you could have these, like, if you're within the range of these things and they're on an objective, they give out a buff to your other knights. But then Yeah, I see that as a cool idea. And I think if you build a detachment around it, you can then free up the potential of having like big knights and small knights both being affected by it. You can literally have this attachment is you're taking just big knights, you're not taking your armigers
No
for this
armigers.
thing.
Yeah.
You're just taking big knights, but your small version are these your supporters that are following you around, and they are the thing that provide buffs in certain ways. Like it could be that your bondsman abilities work off them instead of off of armigers.
Oh yeah,
And then
that's a
the
really cool
bondsman
idea.
ability without having to have a associated armager. But obviously, they die really quick. So you might only get that bondsman ability once where they go team, and then a lancer gets to advance and charge, and then they get absolutely just picked up by a guy with a heavy bolt, and then the lancer goes, "Oh, I'm sad now."
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool idea.
You find the one crackhead who's like, "Cool, I've brought one knight."
Yeah, there you go. One night, and the rest of my points is just these house lords or whatever they're called.
We're gonna really
Bring forth my noble cheer squad. Grind the enemy down with your flesh and blood.
You go against the one guy who brings nothing but grots, and then you just have it's a grot.
what a fight! What a fight!
Nothing but grots and a stomper versus nothing but these guys and one big knight. And I watched a game of one of my tournaments, which was it was a stomper, a Morkanaut, and a Gorkanaut versus 3 knight rampagers. Girls Not Rampages, and that was a fun game to watch because it was just a slugfest. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
What a wonderful idea!
Fucking bumper cars.
Yeah.
I also just need to say, from my opinion perspective, because I play a lot of the different editions of 40k. I kind of miss where older editions, especially for casual play, require you to take at least some troops, because what that does in game is it always guarantees that your opponent will at least have something that they get to kill.
Yeah.
I understand when people say they want force disposition, not force disposition, it's called force organization charts. That's what it's called. I bring those back, but then the issue always arose when they existed was that if your battle line unit was shit, it's just attacks. But if you're, let's say, Drukhari, all of your battle line are incredible, so it's actually just buffing you. But if you're a army that has a really bad battle line unit, you just have to take them for the tax, and you have to take as minimal as possible. I like the more freeform versions now because it allows me to do stuff like 36 Centurions. It's one of those really weird ones where it removing the force organization charts has worked for both extremes. You can make even wilder lists that are really silly, but it also means you can make even wilder lists that are ridiculously strong. And I think what they've done in 11th by having it, there's a tax for if you have like a third or a second version of something, does help with that a little bit. But realistically, the best way to do it would just be make the inventory good, like across the board.
Yes.
There's like intercessors are still pretty good for Space Marines, so people will take intercessors, but assaults and heavies are very rarely taken. Like Necrons, most lists very, very rarely take Immortals and Warriors, except in like the cases where you're doing like a big thing with them. Votan's usually pretty good. I mean, GC the Cults, they're nothing but infantry because the GC the Cults.
That's all they have is their troops choices. They don't have much else.
Like, I think most armies are pretty good for it now. But I'm kind of looking through the ones like probably like Sisters of Battle are okay.
Yeah,
Custodians are just everything's fine. Like Mechanicus, you're usually taking some Skitarii because they do a lot of stuff action wise. Death Guard, World Eater, Thousand Suns, Emperor's Children. Like Emperor's Children is probably one with the mehis versions, but like most. I'd say actually most Thousand Suns lists now, but let's not worry about those because they're going to get nerfed. They're like 3 Defilers and 3 Demon Princes and some other bullshit.
I think what I'd appreciate though is like maybe not in every game, but if there was a format that did have like organization chart where, in the same way that you have different kinds of games of like Magic and different kinds of Magic tournaments, you might have different different oriented kinds of 40k games, because back in the day, if you were playing without the force org chart, there was a name for it.
Was it open play?
I'm racking my brain. No, this was even before
Right.
open play. Open play, I think, still required it. It was way back in 7th and prior. It'll hit,
Battleford!
no, it'll hit me like an hour later, and I'm gonna scream. But yeah, there was some older edition like variant rule sets to play in the different modes. I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because I find a lot of the, especially casual games, it really helps to have a bit of a like quote unquote tax.
Yeah.
Because even if your friend is way better than you, at least you get to kill something.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to something like Knights, which skews so heavily into that kind of thing. I think it was Croc, you were saying that you've got like the group you play with all the time, right? That it's that kind of play which this, having, you can just decide to do this and like force like there's a chart, which is cool. It's that middle ground I find of where you're looking for pickup games where kind of the modern version of 40k does kind of make it restrictive just purely from a logistical standpoint. Like if you're trying to set up a game like on a Discord server, a local club, the last thing you really want to be doing is worrying about like what kind of rules we want to agree on, what terrain we want to agree on. If that's all sorted for you, you can just go there and play a game. If you've got your like group that you're tight knit with, you can do wild stuff. Zarek, I think you mentioned that you do 5th edition games and stuff, which is lovely. But if you went to a like a local game store, it's like, I'm going to try to find a 5th edition game. Good luck. But I get.
Oh, I've been on that. I've been infecting people with the bug.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got to be the change you want to see in the world, right? But I also I do like the idea of having these kind of like stuff like they have in White Dwarf, where they have these like extra game modes, because they had like a bike one at the end of 10th, which is really cool.
Bike.
No one probably read that edition, and no one probably knew it was there. They should put those things on their website and make that the way to do it. And then you can have your like force organization chart like version, your all the other things people like, some of the more crusade rules that are out there, the asymmetric missions, that kind of stuff, where it does force it into that kind of thing and remove that skew list stuff. Yeah, that's my rant about that.
No, for sure, yeah. Right, I'll move us ahead. Croc, do you have anything that's not Necromunda you would like to discuss? Actually, no, fuck off. Croc, I'm going to do a Paul first. Paul, what?
Do I have anything? I prepared even less because I didn't realize I had to prepare anything. But the thing,
No, that's okay.
the thing I think people probably want.
Zarek and I have enough to go around.
The thing I think people probably want to. I get asked a lot is about Centurion characters. Obviously,
Sure, yeah.
Lore-wise, I don't think there are any. Correct me if I'm wrong. The only thing I know about Centurions,
if you get technical, right?
yeah,
Uftak Blackhawk of the Orcs is technically a Centurion
that is
character.
the one I was going to say, because I actually, weirdly, that's the one thing I've heard about, is that there's that one, there's like a jump, like a
Yeah, so it's literally in the book, what was it? Brutal Cunning?
yeah.
They go to the one Forge world that has the one prototype, no other copies of it exist, no instructions, jump Centurion armor, and it gets stolen by the titular orc.
Yeah. So slight tangent, I have been looking for that book for ages, and I found it in Hobbycraft.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have a Warhammer
actually,
section now, and I didn't realize they also have a Warhammer book section. And I literally turned around and went, I've been looking for that book in like GW shops and game stores for ages, and it's there. And I bought it about 2 months ago, and I've not read it because I can't read, which is a real problem. So I've been wanting to read that, but obviously, like, otherwise, Centurion characters don't really appear. And people always say, like, would you want a Centurion character? And I have always said no, because if you look at the kind of stuff that you'd get with a Centurion character, let's say it was like, because all of the like chaplains, librarians, captains, lieutenants in the like they all have the same, they all do the same thing. Like lieutenants always give you lethal hits, captains always give you -1 command point to stuff, librarians always give you a 4-up invuln, and chaplains always give you +1 to wound. If you give any of those to Centurions, they become absolutely broken. Like, lethal hit Centurions is disgusting. 4-up invulns on Centurions is disgusting. Being able to do strats for potentially free is disgusting. And +1 to wound in melee is disgusting, especially on Assault Centurions. The one I have been trying to make is my own custom Screaming Ravens character, which is a character that can jump in and out of the Centurion armor. So he basically has to play around with you can jump out, have the Centurion armor then have no movement, but then you can use it to magnetically slingshot off, and then jump back into it and all sorts of stuff. Which was going to be a nightmare to try and model. But
very Titanfall.
And, yeah, it's
Totally
very Titanfall. That was just kind of my thing. And I just feel like if you're going to do a Centurion character, it probably would have to be named. And as there isn't a named one apart from the Orc, which they should make a model of, because he does have a model. Does he actually have a model?
He doesn't.
Does he have a model that actually looks like Centurion armor?
Does it not?
They took it off him. They took it off him.
Oh,
what? No way.
Disgusting.
They did, yeah. For the book, for the second book, I think Mike Brooks was given a stern talking to by GW, who said no. And in the second book, he no longer has it. I think it got nicked or something.
That's disappointing. I'm very upset.
Yeah.
And frankly, GW, you're cowards.
Not even the Orc gets it
and
anymore.
I'm. You know how I said at the start, I will kill again. Here is why.
Yeah.
He's got his target.
Yeah, Centurion armor is just cool, and I wish this is actually the opposite of the prompt for this one. I want more lore about Centurions, even though I don't really read much on the lore, and I'm not very good at the lore, and I'm not a smart person. But if there was a Centurion character, I'd read that book. Even though there is a Centurion character, technically it's the Orc, and I bought that book and I haven't read it, so I might be lying.
Here's one for you, because I remember I mentioned one of the guys who's part of our community called Ed. He's a huge Centurion fan. I mentioned him before we started recording. I remember talking to him about this ages and ages ago. And so, just for context, my favorite thing about the Centurion is that it looks like a fucking brick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There is something undeniably brick-like about the Centurion. Yeah. Now, from the Space Marine transition to Primaris, the brick aesthetic has become a little bit too curvaceous for my liking. I don't hate Primaris. I like Primaris, but my preference is for Mark 7 and before, right? How would you feel if they brought, or what would they need? And here's a better question. What would they need to do for you to Primarisify the Centurion warsuit?
So, Primarisify the person in the warsuit. You don't need to Primarisify the warsuit. Keep it chunky.
The warsuit's perfect as is what you're saying.
Keep it blocky. Keep it as a tank. It probably needs a little bit of work doing to make it so it doesn't look like they waddle everywhere, because knees are a thing that people have. And the Centurions are
the
somewhat
too,
need lacking. Which, again, adds to their charm. But I just like the idea of, it's the fact that it's not, they have armor, it's the armor inside armor. People go, haha, it's like armor inside armor. But no, it's like you're an armored dude and you put on an even bigger suit of exoskeletal armor to carry a siege drill with a melter on it to punch someone and then melt their face off. Like that, or you have a las cannon strapped to your wrist and you can backhand people with it if you need to. That is just the coolest thing. And I think if they Primarisify Centurions, all they need to do is build the same kind of design of the Centurion, but build it around the skeleton of a Primaris. So essentially, it'll just be slightly taller, but you don't need to reinvent anything else with the actual suit itself. Which honestly, maybe this is weirdly lore accurate, I don't know. But if they don't have a way of making the Centurion suits bigger because they only know how to make a Centurion battle suit as is, but they need to fit it onto a Primaris guy, it should look like it's jury-rigged. Have it just the same stuff, just on a slightly bigger rider, and it just looks menacing because it's patchwork Centurion armor on a bigger frame.
Yeah. Well, I think from my interpretation of the law, that wouldn't classify as the way Zarek and I talk about this. Is the idea is you can make a thing if you're not innovating,
right?
So it's
you can make it. You can upscale it basically.
Yeah. I don't think it would be like the mechanics say you're innovating by like adding extra leg space.
You're allowed to put
you know
1.2 times when you put it into the 3D printer, and then you're allowed to have it slightly bigger.
Right.
That would also be fine. But I mean, that would make sense, right? If it's just we can't innovate, but we don't want to innovate on this this armor, but we do need to make it bigger, so we'll make it slightly bigger.
Yeah, we drag and drop the corner of it, hold down control, and
I should also say, I would think less of Cole if he didn't at least consider, in all the multifarious like patterns of Mark 10 armor that he designed, that there is not a means to slot it into Centurion armor.
Yeah.
Like, it absolutely should be. And Centurions are just... The other thing, like, because obviously the kind of the elephant in the room with Centurions is, are they going to Legends or not? But when things go to Legends, when it's like infantry type stuff, it's usually because they've been usurped by something. But there's nothing that's really usurped the Centurion. It's in a unique space.
Yeah.
But if you then put that to Legends, you've taken out a really interesting, unique unit that doesn't really have a equivalent anywhere, which would be a real shame. They are a bit of a nightmare to balance because their main thing is that they move 4 inches, which is insanely slow. But if you find a way around that, they become one of the best shooting units in the game, which is why Raven Guard love them so much, because you can just pick them up and put them wherever you want, which is why I think they're the coolest. So it's an interesting one. I think for me, a Centurion, if they make a Centurion character, they'd have to make it like, I think generic Centurion characters would feel a bit weird compared to having like one guy who's the Centurion character.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a tech marine, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if you're having someone march up with a tank, it wouldn't hurt to have that person in gigantic armor.
He's going to struggle to keep up with the tank.
Just
no, it's a tank,
but I do see where you're going
just
with
hook
this.
on the back.
It's a tank marine, right? They can just magnetize to the tank.
Yeah, like
It's a maglock. Yeah, maglock on.
add some wheels to your feet and like a skateboarder on the back of a car.
Like certain Mechanicus implants, right, allow you a degree of maglev functionality. So you just,
God!
Stop! Don't take another step. What the? As the Centurion just starts floating at you.
Yeah, more magnet stuff. Like just anything to do with. I again, because of a stupid meme with an advert, magnets are cool. But it makes sense to like be using magnets like a railgun type stuff, but for armor. Like having I just have this thought in my head of just like a guy in a Centurion armor just being slingshotted at you, and he can't do anything about it because he can't keep his legs together. He's literally just like a boulder, like a bowling ball, just getting yeeted somewhere.
You're so right. The Space Marines, they should have trebuchets that they launch the Centurions at the enemy over the wall.
I mean, it makes sense. They'll survive the fall. They're in big chunky armor.
So one of the things that I want to talk about, I know Zarek wants to talk about this. This one's a fun one because it could very well have a model for a bunch of reasons, or at least a consistent visual fucking depiction. It wouldn't find itself in competitive games ever. Oh, sorry. It would find itself in competitive games about as often as you find the Astartes in competitive games.
Funny you should say that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Very briefly, there was a list idea that Toby, the coach I'm working with, and I were playing about with, which was 2 Astartes.
Well, I saw there was a 9th edition tournament where a guy came second place in a massive tournament playing Iron Hands, and he brought, this was before they got put in Legends, he brought an Astartes and a Fire Raptor.
Oh my god.
A Bioraptor.
A classic.
Fire Raptor gunship.
Holy
with the
shit.
That used to be really big, if I recall, way back in
quite
like
large,
and
quite
stuff.
large, yeah.
Fire
like 8
Raptor,
heavy bolters and
I'm sure I know what a Fire
it's
Raptor
a
is.
Heresy relic vehicle. It's a giant fucking thing. So when it came to the Fire Raptor, the Storm Hawk,
Oh, that thing, yeah.
and the Relic Dreadnoughts all got put in Legends. But it's basically, you're basically taking it because it's flying. It's got a shit ton of wounds, and it's got 8 heavy bolters and a bunch of missiles. And it's like, all right, cool. Anyways, by the by, the vehicle that I know Zarek's been thinking about this one as well. That really desperately, if it's not going to get tabletop representation, we desperately need a visual for it in like an art piece fucking somewhere. and that is the Overlord gunship, the Primaris Overlord gunship. So obviously you know how Belisarius Cawl was like, hey, I'm going to make some new bullshit for the Space Marines. And it's like, all right, yeah, thanks, Cawl, good stuff. And he made the new tanks, the new armor, the new guns, all this other jack off. And he made a new gunship to sort of be a stopgap between the Thunderhawk and the Stormbird. Now, the Stormbird doesn't exist in 40k as much as it would be a rare relic vehicle. The Stormbird being a giant fucking Thunderhawk, and the Overlord gunship is basically the Overlord gunship is basically a Primaris Stormbird. The visual identity of it is said to be comparable to the Corvus Blackstar from the Death Watch. So the way that a lot of people imagine it is a fucking massive Corvus Blackstar that has instead dropped all the lovely Death Watch gizmos in exchange for a slightly more plain but giant one to carry Space Marines around. And here's the fun thing. It is the new Primaris Big Flyer. But the only reason we got to see Thunderhawks in Space Marine 2 instead of this thing, it's because no one knows what this thing fucking looks like. Despite having a lore presence for about 8 years now, no one knows what it fucking looks like because they've never shown us what it looks like. So obviously it would be, I'm flapping a bit here, but it would be the Space Marine Flyer to have that Primaris identity in the same way that the tanks and the guns and the bikes and the armor have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at some like concept art of what people think it might look like, and it looks badass as hell. And I want one now. So thanks for showing that because I really want one. Okay, it looks so cool. I would.
You see the Corvus Blackstar kind of
that's,
influence
like when you said
right?
that, I kind of just googled it, and the Corvus Blackstar is shown here, and it is basically just a buffed up Corvus Blackstar. Which I want one of them. GW, don't be cowards. Because it looks like it would be maybe like close to a Thunderhawk, and Thunderhawks are cool. And Thunderhawks I've also seen at a tournament, which is hilarious. At the table next to me,
well, there you go.
At the table next to me, one of my games, someone had brought a Thunderhawk. It was awesome. It was beautiful. Like everyone who saw it was like super in awe at this thing. Unfortunately, the game I saw, he was against Tau. So that game lasted very quickly, unfortunately.
The absolute worst matchup.
It is like
Fireblade, deploy the colossal fly swatter.
Yeah.
As you wish, Ethereum.
It was like, we need to aim all our guns at that thing. Oh, well, that's half your army gone. Like, again, it's one of those things that people are going to take because it's cool as hell, not exactly to win. But you never know. Like, you could probably play with that. And if there is the fact that there's a Primaris big plane and they haven't released it, it's probably because of the fact that aircraft are a bit weird and they've never been able to get them right on the table. But
I mean, it's the same for fortifications, but they still made the Hammerfall bunker.
The Hammerfall bunker doesn't Hammerfall. It's just it's so
it's the hammer
it's
set.
so infuriating that the Hammerfall bunker doesn't drop down. It just sits there. Like, why? Why?
Can I tell you something cool about the Hammerfall bunker? Paul.
Sorry.
Can I tell you something about the Hammerfall bunker? It's not a Primaris vehicle. It's not a Primaris fortification. It's not Primaris at all.
It's just an old thing.
No, they had it in the Horus Heresy. Do you know why?
Why?
They released the fucking thing for 40k because obviously it's a Primaris thing. It's got Primaris design language, Primaris everything. No one bought the fucking thing. So when they come around with Horus Heresy 2nd edition to try and make some extra sales on the fucking Hammerfall bunker, they were like, all right, cool. Put the Hammerfall bunker in Horus Heresy and give it some rules. Some people might buy it.
That's very funny.
And so it's the Hammerfall bunker has been around since the halcyon days of the Great Crusade.
Oh, what was it? The Hellfire drop pod? Sorry, Deathstorm drop pod. Don't think about that. Don't think about that.
Don't think
the
about
Deathstorm as like an
Deathstorm
innovation of the Primarchs. No. The Hammerfall bunker did the same thing, but it's also just as old.
And the fun part is the reason almost no one knows this is because it's the Hammerfall bunker. Therefore, no one cares.
Yeah, people would care if it was
bad.
actually, useful or good or interesting. But like you see it in
Yeah.
like in again like Space Marine 2 where it drops down and deploys stuff for people,
Boom.
but
yeah.
it doesn't. It can't. It doesn't deep strike, and you can't give it deep strike because
Well,
it's a fortification.
All they need to do is just not make it a house anymore, and the problems would be solved.
Yeah, just make it a.
Why is it a house?
Make it a vehicle. Just give it movement 0, but just allow it to deep, or just make it a drop pod.
Yeah.
Like drop pods are allowed to drop in.
Drop on it, yeah.
Just do the same thing you do with a drop pod, but just make it so that if you're standing in it, you get like a, better gun or something. I don't know. Like it's just, it's a frustrating thing to have a full bunker.
Yeah, but sort of bring it back around to the Overlord gunship. So when Dark Imperium came out in when did Dark Imperium come out? 2017? The novel Dark Imperium?
It was like right around 8th edition's launch. Yeah.
Yeah, June 2017. Yeah, so when Dark Imperium came out, like one of the things the criticism that we talked about this in the last recording, one of the big criticisms of Dark Imperium and the Plague Wars trilogy in general is that as books, it's like, hey guys, product placement. And it's like you capitalize. And the Primaris Intercessors and the Blade Guard veterans with their mastercrafted... you know what I mean?
With the Master Power Weapons, Strength 5, AP 2, Damage 2.
Hectic product placement. And so when it came time for the Overlord gunship to make an appearance, they were like, Overlord gunship. Desolator las cannons.
Ooh.
Melter cannons. Heavy bolters. And it's like, so you're listing off weapons, product placement style, that you would only find on a data sheet. And so it is a reasonable belief. Wings tipped with Gatling lasers, and so it's a reasonable belief that there was at some point in the works a plan to turn this thing into a model, to the point where like the author who wrote that was who the fuck wrote Dark Imperium? Guy Haley. And so Guy Haley is being given the deets on these models as they are for data sheets in the tabletop and what, so he knows how to represent them properly, and presumably has a gun to the back of his head saying, hey, it's halftime at the Super Bowl. Make sure they know how much Primaris Intercessors cost. No, it just cooks my noodle that they very clearly got this fucking close to giving us this awesome giant fucking gunship, and then just went, we don't know how to do flyers, we won't bother. It's like, all right, cool, thanks, I guess. You know,
there's got to be someone, right, at GWHQ that just hates planes. I genuinely don't think in my
they keep shooting them all down.
8 to 9 years in this hobby, I can remember a time where planes have been at all useful. There was a period, right, in like 9th edition, when my game group, there was a single fucking Wazdacker that was the terror of the skies because no one had any good anti-air and it would just remove things off the board.
Yeah.
The next time planes felt powerful. The next time planes felt powerful for me was like my 3rd epic skill game when I spammed the shit out of Fire Raptor gunships.
Yeah. You gotta do it.
Yeah, Storm Ravens have been good. But they're also changing it now in 11th, where a lot of those aircraft are no longer aircraft. They're just flying vehicles.
Yeah.
And therefore, the Overlord should come back as a flying vehicle. There you go.
Exactly. Actually, I did take 3 flyers to a small tournament once.
Nice.
As I was running Corvus Blackstar full of Deathwatch, 2 Valkyries full of Ogren.
I knew the fucking the double Valkyrie Corvus Blackstar was going to come up in this stream. This podcast.
I managed to win a game.
Nice.
It was quite fun, and you use Lord Solariantis to give these things OC1 with the order that gives them that. So the Valkyries are able to hold objectives and fly up the board and nab them from people. It's hysterical.
Yeah, I think Corvus Blackstars is another one that actually is used quite a bit because they're pretty nice. But again, now they're just flying tanks now.
Yeah.
I remember when Imperial Agents first came out and they messed up with the keyword, so you could put anything in a Corvus Blackstar.
No, it was the Rhino. It was you put anything in the
Rhino.
Rhino.
You put a Rhino in a Rhino.
Oh, you've blown up my Rhino. I better make my emergency disembarkation test for my Rhino. Oh, that blew up. Well, I better make my emergency disembarkation test for, I don't know, my Rhino.
This Rhino's all the way down.
What is your list? Oh, nothing. And you look behind you, the tray that's just Rhino, watch Captain, Rhino.
They're like stacked on top of each other.
Slight tangent, there is a list that I made, which is, that actually my community made even better. You can make a list that kills itself instantly
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So obviously,
Whoa.
because transports have to have something embarked with them at the start of a game, you can, as Space Marines, make a list that is nothing but transports, because Space Marines have enough transport options, so you can have 6 of each of Rhino, Drop Pod, Impulsor, and Razorback. And there's a detachment that allows you to make vehicles characters, so you can even have a Warlord as one of those Rhinos. So you can basically go, here is my list. It's instantly destroyed, and then you just leave.
Oh, that's incredible.
Trying to win a tournament when I can't win a game.
And it is exactly 2,000 points.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
So clearly somebody meant for this to be a thing. Very good.
I was arguing with Toby about this because I said technically you don't even need to buy the models because they don't ever get deployed, and he was very adamant that you would have to buy the models for this, which is just really funny. Like, you sit there and build and paint 6 Rhinos, 6 Impulsors, 6 Razorbacks, and 6 Drop Pods, and never use them.
There's a case
good.
to be made that is potentially the funniest competitive list of all time.
I think so.
Especially if you show up with everything like really well painted.
Yeah, you make-
like,
Oh
what
my
kind of list is
God.
this? Oh, let's just roll initiative. Okay,
Yeah,
good game.
You go through every data sheet, like really, like explain everything, and wait for them to work it out.
Yeah, don't tell them.
Yeah, and the longer it takes them to not work it out, the better. But the problem is, it's also one of those ones. Like 36 Centurions is funny, but you get to play a game. Imagine you go to a tournament and your first opponent is essentially a buy because they brought a list and went, haha, and you go, okay, I've taken my time on my weekend and spent money to be here, and I'm not playing a game. You went, yeah, okay, well, see ya. You do that 5 times.
Oh, right. There is
incredible.
another unit. Does anyone have any units they want to talk about? Because I have one
Yes.
that I'd really... Oh, go on, Zarek. I have one that I really
Cool.
want to get to before
All
we
right,
finish
well,
up, but
yeah.
yours first.
Well, I want to touch here on the other unit for Imperial Knights, which is a big thing. And Tom, I was teasing you with this before we started. I said to you earlier today, I said, yeah, there's 2 units for Imperial Knights that are, in lore, have art, and we don't have any models for them.
Yeah. You were talking... I couldn't work out what the fuck it is you were referring to. Yeah, what is it?
Yeah. So Guard was one. The other is, The other is Sacristans.
Yeah!
Sacristans,
Fucking
and
hell.
for Chaos Knights, Idolaters. And these are the tech priests that tend to them.
I fucking love
Oh,
Sacristans.
fuck off. Knight-specific engine seers is... Okay.
No, don't be doing
To be
Sacristans
fair, they
like
look
that.
cool
They're
as
so
hell.
fucking cool.
No, I'm sure they are cool, but they are ostensibly engine seers. For
Oh yeah,
Knight.
no, absolutely.
Well, yes and no,
They have
actually.
swag.
So, very specifically, they are specific to individuals that have this trained for this singular purpose. They're not just engine seers. You have to specialize in night maintenance to then be sent out to a night world to tend to the knights, and this is sort of like... It's like when you become like a sort of religious hermit, right? If you become a monk, you go off to a mountain village and you stop in there like once every 3 weeks to pick up some yak milk or something. That's
I
the
forgot
kind
this
of tech priest
artwork
existence.
on the left you've posted is canon. I completely forgot that this is canon artwork.
That's canon
Yeah.
artwork.
The absolutely mammoth Titanicus tech priest lady with a...
No, exactly.
But,
And this
for
has
some
been
reason,
canon.
she has a giant sword as well.
I know. This has been canon
Because of the
since
swag.
6th edition. 6th edition brought that art piece in right when knights got their full like plastic kits.
That's fucking crazy. I kind of prefer the other one, the Chaos one.
Mm-hmm.
I like the big like mane of spikes behind him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks like a Lord Discordant, and the Lord Discordant
Yeah.
and the thing he rides
Yeah.
on have merged.
Well, actually, I think that's the conjoining factor with both of these visuals is that the Idolator and the Sacristan are like their lower half is just a Goliath mound of tentacles.
To be
Mechadendrites
fair-
even.
To be fair, not all Sacristans look like that, because not all Sacristans are like tech priests that ancient to get that big.
No.
Sure, yeah.
But
Let's see
that one's
where-
cool
I
as
don't know.
fuck.
Yeah, I mean
so-
that is just a. This is the kind of stuff that annoys me so much because whenever they do model reveals, right? They go, okay, here's
Yeah.
the cool new thing for 40k. You go, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then they go, oh, by the way, here's AOS's cool new thing. And you go, well, that's just like the best thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life. That's a tree person riding on the back of a giant beetle. Like, you know, where's that? You have this artwork. You've had this artwork for a long time. This is the kind of cool, wacky, out there shit that you should be making models of, because that's the kind of unique, like, eye-catching stuff that people are going to go, what the hell is that thing? That's so cool.
Well, actually,
Nightbringer, for example, or the Void Dragon. Those are the kind of things that, like, or, you know, Avatar of Cain is one. Again, that's kind of also Age of Sigmar. Those kind of, like, really weird out there. I would say even Belisarius Call is like a weird, like, looking one. The new Sir Hammerlock Agent Imperium guy, the guy on the horse.
The
funky horse guy.
Inquisitor Croyle.
That's the one. Like, those kind of models that are really out there and weird are the kind of things that draw people in, or at least me. Like, that's the kind of thing I look at and go, this is, like, you know, sci-fi stuff, but there's some really cool, interesting design choices, and you have this artwork, and you're not using it to make this model would make me want to play Imperial Knights.
Yeah, well, they make us talk. They make us discuss them, and that makes us want to get them.
And it's just like,
off the back of this...
Let me introduce you to something, right? Because the Age of Sigmar level design language in 40k does exist, and you'll never guess on what lovely little hive world it exists.
Oh, you rat.
Let me introduce you to the Nautican Siphoning Delegation from Necromunda. Look at these motherfuckers, right?
They're so
to be
incredible.
fair, like, I've actually bought some Necromunda models specifically for like doing kit bashes of stuff, because I made a Drukhari homunculus out of a Necromunda model. Because they like, it was the I can't remember what what they called, not squads, whatever they're called. Necromunda gangs. I can't remember which gang it was, but it was one with it was the ladies with like the big hair.
Escher.
Escher. Yep.
Escher gang, that's the one. No, it's not Escher gang, it's the other one. What's it called? I'll find it in a second.
Oh, they're specialists. They
might be specialists.
The Escher Deathmains.
Can I even...
Is it the ones with, like, the big hair and the big headdress
they have big
things and the veiled faces?
well,
Yeah, that's Escher Deathmains. They're so cool.
Oh, right, so that's Escher cool. But yeah, one of them with a few, like, homunculus bits on, like, made a really nice homunculus, and I think I've been using the other parts for here and there. But that's Drukhari, because Drukhari, you can basically make anything a Drukhari character by just putting a Drukhari head on something and calling it a day. But yeah, it's that kind of... Whenever I see Necromunda models, again, like, when they do the announcements, like, oh, here's 40k, here's Age of Sigmar, here's Necromunda, you go, God damn it, where's my Goliath sump croc in 40k?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, love that go.
I'd also like to torture you with the following, which is also on my list, but I'm going to, like, blitz through it real quick. Is all of these beasts for the Exodites, the Stegodons, the fucking Brachiosaurus,
the dinosaur questions come too early.
At least, hey, Exodites are a thing now. They've made them.
Yeah,
they are.
I
can finally play with the models I kit bashed years ago.
Something I saw. I think it was a Tabletop Tactics tournament I went to. Someone had made a fully kit bashed Exodite army for Eldaria. It was beautiful. And someone also did a again, you go to tournaments just to see some people's amazing armies. Someone made an Admech army that was all lizard folk, like all Seraphon. So it was Seraphon Admech.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It's like,
you've seen Pete the Wargamer's Gene Stealer cult rat.
Yeah, I love Cheese Stealer cults.
well,
Yeah,
it's weird enough you bring them up, right? Fucking Seraphon seem to get a lot of 40k kit bashes a lot of the time. Like, the obvious answer is, of course, you know, it is Exodites, big dinosaurs, yada yada. I've seen, like, a full Tau army that's just Seraphon, as well as some Admech.
I've seen World Eaters Seraphon.
What?
The
people
Croxigors are your
lizard.
8-bound. The regular Saurus are your Berserks. Like, Skinks are the cultists, or the whatever they're called in Khorne, jackals. Like, I think it's just because lizard men are cool. Like, lizard folk are just a cool thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing I would be like really. I mean, there's two actually, but there's one's more important. There's one thing I'd really, really want to talk about this recording.
Too bad.
You fucking let me sat me through the torture of potential Munda.
I'll
I'm
keep
it was,
no more,
it
don't
was
you
Munda
wait.
adjacent. I think it was relevant Munda adjacent, so I think we're okay.
relevant
You're,
Munda.
you're lucky I haven't mentioned my Necromunda campaign, because I will talk about it. Don't tempt me.
No. What I want to talk about now are a Sisters of Silence unit that could be both Horus Heresy and 40k. This is for 40k. I thought this isn't one of my Horus Heresy specific ones. They are called. This is a real thing that exists in the lore. They are called the Pursuers. And if you have a quick look at the image, these are very real.
Sisters of Silence representation. Holy shit.
Yes,
And
Sisters,
these are
Sisters
from
of
the
Silence.
old,
Did I
Visions
say
of
Sisters of
Heresy
Battle?
book,
I meant
right?
I think
Sisters of
it's
Silence.
Sister Summon.
So these are the Sisters of Silence Pursuers. And basically, before going into like the lore on them, I will describe the image because this image is what they are. They are these lovely all-white Sisters of Silence in these thick leather gowns with these huge spiked shoulders. But what the more interesting thing you have is they have these cyber mastiffs, but these are exceedingly cracked cyber mastiffs pumped full of aggression drugs, and each of them have inserted in their mouths are these retractable melter guns.
Holy shit.
They are obscene. And these are the one of two that don't have any model representation, one of two Sister of Silence specific scout units, where you would basically have these sisters who would let these dogs loose to scout out places, and that you wouldn't want to get found because obviously you don't want the scouting units to find you and the army comes in. You also don't want to get found because these giant cyber dogs with melters for mouths will either cook you or eat you or both in either order.
We're going to release the dogs,
you're
the bees,
the
or the
third
dogs
option,
that
right?
shoot bees out of their mouth.
Exactly.
You forget the third option, right? Because regular Cybermastiffs that you see the Arbites equipped with are already fucking ridiculous. They could probably run through, man. These things?
Yeah.
10 men. Fucking Viltrumited, mate.
Yeah. I gotta go find it, but and so the Sisters of Silence themselves, if I recall correctly from the Horus Heresy first ed datasheet, basically they're just running around with bolt guns as well. Bolt guns and like psych out grenades and the usual sister shenanigans. But they're a very fun, very cool, wonderful thing from this artwork from, I believe, was, oh my god, who did this? Moots and I think this is a Karl Kopinski piece. But we could be wrong on that. But it's very Karl Kopinski coded in terms of like the artwork and the color. Also, additionally, if you didn't want them to take the dogs, you can have them bring something called Steel Talon Hawks.
Oh, I know these guys, I think.
Which is much the same thing, except they fly. So a fun little thing. How would they work on the tabletop? I have no fucking idea. But here's the thing for the Sisters of Silence. Because the Sisters of Silence cover basically no bases for their tabletop representation, you could have the Pursuers do just about fucking anything and it would make sense.
Yeah. I'm getting the feeling that it was a good thing that I never got into the lore because it's just annoying me now. Like, why aren't these a thing?
Yeah.
Like, they're just why? Like,
Welcome.
Why would you not want Sister Science with robot dogs with melter guns in them? This is the shit that should be on the tabletop. And I feel like Cypher in the Matrix, where I'm like, ignorance is bliss. Like, let me have my juicy steak and pretend it's real.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll tell you what I'll do. Before we get caught up on this, whilst you're still in that awful headspace, I will introduce you to the Sisters of Silence Excruciators or Excruciators?
I think it's Excoriators.
Excruciatus. These are the Sisters of Silence Excruciatus squads. The also Karl Kopinski, same sort of era. Wonderful. This is actually what they look like. They are the coolest fucking thing. Now, the sisters behind them, the two sisters in the back, have very special flamers. I'm not going to get into the info on them. Just know they're extra special flamers. The sister in the front, the red one, is the bit that makes these ladies so special. That is called, in the lore, that is called a silent judge. She is basically an inquisitor. Her mission, an inquisitor that specializes in the killing of psychics, a very, Ordo Hereticus kind of stuff, I guess. But she basically has the Emperor's authority to do whatever the fuck she deems necessary to hunt down rogue psychers. It's not said, but it is inferred that she is one of the only Sisters of Silence who is allowed to speak. Because her whole job centers around not just hunting down, but interrogations as well. And the other cool bit of lore about her that I'll talk about now, I spoke to Moots about before the recording. The Sisters of Silence, silent judges, are the only people in the entire galaxy that aren't custodians who are allowed to wield Adrathic weapons. Do you know about Adrathic weapons, Paul?
I actually don't.
So they do have a presence on the tabletop in 40k. They are rare as rocking horse shit, and they've been in Legends for one edition now. It's a special weapon that you would put on Aquilon Terminators for the Custodies. The Adrathic in the lore is basically Imperial Gorse weapons, like Necron Gorse cannons.
Oh, right.
Except for in some indescribable way, they're meant to be even more terrifying. So much so that the Emperor was like, hey, these things can actually hurt me. And he launched whole campaigns to basically hunt down all of the Adrathic weapon caches on Terra during the Unification Wars. They never existed outside of Terra. And they are these crazy as fuck weapons that even none of the Primarchs had Adrathic weapons. He only ever trusted them to the Custodies and the Silent Judges. Very specifically, these ladies in this sort of gimp red. You ever seen, anyone here seen Trigun, the anime, or read the manga Trigun?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
This
Yeah.
one.
You know, Vash the Stampede looks like it's very much the same sort of thing, a giant red outfit full of belts. And I had to talk about this today because I rarely get ever any opportunities to talk in an official capacity to talk about the Excruciatus sisters. But I love them so much. There's the coolest fucking artwork. Models for these would sell like hotcakes. They're genuinely just so badass.
Because Sisters of Silence are on tabletop kind of boring.
Yeah, they got nothing going for them.
I've actually used a Sister of Silence as a Drukhari Archon. Just literally swap the head. It becomes an Archon.
Yeah, it's close enough, right?
I like the theme, but yeah, on the tabletop they're used, but again, it's one of those like they're the cannon fodder. If you've got more specialist stuff like this, why isn't it a thing? And I just like this kind of stuff. I can see why it's the kind of stuff that grips people in the lore, and why then translating to the tabletop is just not happening because you're missing out on so much of this stuff, which just is cool as hell. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff in the lore that probably shouldn't.
True. I mean, yeah. To be fair, like, but it's one of those ones where it's like, obviously, there is a case of you can't do everything, right? And there's obviously a limit on, in terms of how much effort would it be to make these kind of models, and how much would it sell? And yeah, they would probably sell decently, but then the other thing is like just based on how many people play Custodies and also like the Sisters of Silence part, like it might not sell that well, but it's still something that it feels like with these things, or at least with 40k, it feels like they play it too safe. Where I feel like if they release one of these things, like as a kill team or something, it doesn't sell well. Then they're like, oh, we won't do that again. Let's make another lieutenant for Space Marines because we know that will sell. But it just means that kind of lack of taking risks means we don't get the representation of this kind of stuff, which would be really cool for someone like me who is not deep into lore and is very slow at reading, and like absorbing lore is quite difficult. Like, if I saw something like this Silent Judge, like, whoa, what is that? That's so cool. And that would get me more interested in seeing this kind of like more niche stuff because it's so out there. And I just think it's the kind of spice that I think tabletop 40k is missing, is that kind of like really cool, like out there stuff. And don't get me wrong, like the new model they released today for the orcs is fantastic. Like, I love that model. But it's ostensibly just a big orc with a big gun. And it looks amazing and looks really cool. And like with Wazdaka previously, like he's a really cool model on that really cool jet bike, but he's still just an orc on a bike. Like there's nothing like there's nothing super intriguing about those models. And again,
well, actually, it's funny you mentioned Wazdaka as well, because his most recent rendition is actively missing parts that his previous artwork has shown. Let me double check what it is.
Dogleg.
I forget the cat. Yeah, I got one last one. I'm going to put on the screen whilst I'm waiting for Croc. It's this one doesn't actually have any lore at all. It's a specialist. It would basically be another means of doing. You know, the Vigilators from the Sisters. Is it the Vigilators, the ones with the big swords? Might be the Vigilators.
Yes, I believe so.
But these are basically another way of doing them. This is again official artwork. This is called a Sisters. This is a Sisters Ravenclaw squad, and it's the same sort of thing, except they have these like huge power axes instead.
Yeah,
it's just
again,
cool. Is what it is.
It is cool. Again, Karl Kopinski artwork. It's such a beautiful visual that just does so much heavy lifting for the faction in terms of their giving them an identity beyond second fiddle for the Custodes.
That feels like you could kit bash that pretty easily, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
I think some of them are like the kind of like that level of kit bashable if you want to.
Close enough, yeah.
Be a bit of annoying, but again, it's one of those ones where it would be nice to have the cool models made for it, right?
Yeah, you kind of touched on it a moment ago, though. You look at these last three images, and you feel the full identity of a faction.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like you look at all of the three versions of the Sisters that you can do. It's Witch Seekers, Vigilators, and Prosecutors. And then you look at their models, and they're all basically the same. Just one has gun,
I found it.
One has sword, one has a different type of gun, and they all look the same. Where these are clearly distinct, and maybe that's just a failing of the way that they're like. Maybe it's just because they wanted like one box that you could just do all three in, and adding and again, obviously the artwork is going to be like over elaborated, right? Like I'm looking at like the ones with the dogs. It'd be a nightmare to build and paint that shit, or the Silent Judge. I don't want to paint all those belts. That looks like a nightmare. But you could definitely find a way to make that work, right?
Yeah, well, a simplified version of all of these designs absolutely could
exactly.
work. But again, simplified, right? But it's a fun one. I mean, I'm not going to get to the nasty place where people like tune out and get really angry with their political views. But, you know, we talk about Custodes, and the Custodes aren't without their controversy. And that controversy often leads back to, the Sisters of Silence are there. It's like, yes, they are. Now, GW, remember that as well. Please do something with them.
Yeah.
You know, no matter which side of that pendulum you swing on. And we're not getting into it, but no matter which side of that pendulum you swing on, you should want stuff like this for the Sisters. More
100%.
Sisters of Silence.
I feel like it.
Speaking
sorry,
of
guys,
pendulums, excellent segue.
I got this too long. I love all of these so much.
Here is some old art of Mr. Wazdaka. Look at this fucking man.
Oh.
Yep.
They got rid of his top knot, man.
Are those flaming skulls he has behind him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
The skulls are on there, to be fair. They're not on fire, but they're there.
Are they? Yeah, they could have been on fire and he could have had a top knot. He's shaved.
He's lost the chainsaw as well on his claw.
Oh.
But the rest of it's there. So that's cool. I feel like if they expand ranges in certain ways, like for Custodians, they need to if they've got this stuff available in the lore, expand the Sisters. Like it just makes sense on a tabletop type thing. And the other one where that makes sense is I think Drukhari, where obviously they lost a bunch of stuff with Drukhari. I imagine because it was all resin garbage and they're going to bring it back. But I want a plastic Tantalus, please.
That's so cool, yeah.
And also, like...
They don't sell that anymore. It's gone.
It's gone. I'm hoping... My dream is that when they get to the Drukhari for 11th, is they bring back... They make a plastic Tantalus, which can also potentially have Vect on it. You have... you bring back the Court of the Archon in the same way that you did the Huron, Black Hearts, like Masters of the Maelstrom, whatever they're called. That becomes the Court of the Archon. You bring back the same with the Beastmaster. That becomes like a kill team. And then you have, I want characters that can be Hellion character. I want a Reaver character, and then I want just more pain engine stuff. Like again, I don't know what's in the lore, but the Kronos and the Talos are really really cool. The grotesques I never really liked because they were just a bit meh compared to what you could do. So I'd love like we were saying, like I was saying, like with the kind of weird out there designs, I'd love Drukhari grotesques to be just absolute, just obscene, disgusting bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should mention Drukhari in the first place. Because, I mean, if we're talking about overdue models, right? It's got to be Azrubdale Vect. Surely.
Yeah, I think people sometimes think because Vect is so, like, in the shadows or whatever, that he doesn't get a model because he wouldn't be there, I guess.
He had one.
Yeah, but he has had one before. Do you know about the 10th edition Crusade rules for Drukhari?
I haven't played them,
Not personally, no.
So the way that the 10th edition Crusade rules work for Drukhari is you have an Archon or you have a leader, and as you do your battles, you're also trying to take over parts of Comora. If you take over enough places, I think it's 12. I think if you get like 12 bonuses or whatever for your Archon, you have to roll on a table. On a 1 or a 2, Vex recruits you, so your Archon goes off your list, so you can't use it anymore. On a 3 to 4, Vex is trying to kill you, so you have to run away and you can't be on there anymore. On a 5 or a 6, Vex does kill you, so you can't be there anymore. So if you get too powerful in the Drukhari Crusade in Comora, Vex gets you, which I think is just a really, really cool thing, which obviously it sounds like I've got this super powerful Archon that I've now lost, but if you take over an area, you take the Archon that was there and add it to your roster. So essentially, you're collecting like Archons and Succubi and Homunculuses that can start more powerful, that can then take over when the previous guy gets vected, which is just the coolest thing. And it's like, I imagine there is one person in the world who ever got that far in the Crusade and actually had that happen. But that is the kind of stuff that makes Vect really cool. He's just like this, for me, for someone who doesn't know much about the lore, he's just this like figure that just does shit. And it's just, everyone's just like, he's this powerful like crime lord dude that just mysteriously is like, yes, I will have you now. You're my follower.
He's honestly so cool, because he's like, his whole thing is he's just one. He himself is so singularly important to the entirety of Comora that if he was to leave, Comora just explodes. Yeah. And he has died, like, multiple times. He just keeps getting clones.
Yeah.
So it's not even that big a deal to kill Vect.
I don't want to backtrack away from this, but there is one last thing I want to mention. I won't even stay on it for long. I won't even post an image, namely because there isn't an image to post. There is another. I'm so sorry. There is another Sisters of Silence unit called the Silent Furies, and they had rules for first edition Horus Heresy.
Oh, they did.
They were Sisters of Silence on jet bikes, and you were basically told, "Cool, go kit bash them," and that was it.
Necromunda.
No.
Well, look, before Croc does that, there is one last thing that I'm going to opine on as, we lost this from Ancient Past. And this is the one unit in my list that is a rehash of something that used to exist that I want back. And it is the Necron Pariah.
Ooh,
oh, yeah. I was waiting for this thing to make an appearance.
We have the narrative set up. Illuminor Serraz is at the point where his studies are going to lead him towards the Pariah. This feels like how they can naturally bring them back in, right? There's the whole Pariah Nexus going on.
Yeah.
And
that was a while ago now, but yeah.
Yeah, but still going on.
They keep doing it over and over again. The Pariah Nexus just keeps happening. It's still there.
It does. It's just still going. And I do actually have confirmation. It started from before the Indomitus Crusade set out. that, like, because the events of, like, the First Son of Fire novel explain, oh yeah, the Pariah Nexus, that happened, like, year 0 M42. So it's been going on a wee while, and Illuminor Xeris has had his time to experiment with humans, begin to start fusing them with Necron tech, because that's ultimately what pariahs are. They are the fusing of human pariahs with Necron machinery. And what's really interesting, though, is they're basically the one unit that is a Necron thing that doesn't have reanimation protocols. Because they are made.
Well, it's okay. It's funny you should mention Necrons, right? I wasn't sure in this episode where we were going to sit on refresh models. Give me, I want Nemesis Zandrek and Vargard Oberon back, really bad.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think not just that, but their book or books are quite beloved from my. I haven't read them, but from my time in the community and knowing what people like to read and all that jazz, they are two and their dynamic is very beloved. It's obviously
they're great.
Trace and his boyfriend take up like the limelight for here's the Necron funny duo, and then you have these two guys.
Yeah, it's cranky old guy who thinks he's still real, and then Vargard Oberon, the guy that takes people behind the shed.
Yeah, the guy who flattens anyone who might who might argue otherwise.
And like the only reason people keep him around is because Nemesis Zandrek is one of the greatest strategists the galaxy has ever seen.
Yeah.
You tell me there's a guy this cool and Imotech gets a model?
Man, I'm
the guy
so
whose
glad
law is this guy is so cool at Aura Farm sometimes.
I'm so glad that StreamYards like records your audio locally because your mic is doing something crazy for us right now.
It's Necroning itself.
It is. He's talking about Necrons
too
much. Is there anything else anyone wants to move about before I move us to the patron questions? Is there anything else anyone wants to cover? I got loads of things I can cover. I wanted to talk about the overall. I got through most of it. I want to talk about Crusader squads for Agents of the Imperium. I wanted to talk about that was all the Agents of the Imperium. I want to talk about Crusader squads. I wanted to talk about actually that's all. Actually, I got through all of my 40k stuff except for Crusader squads. I wanted to talk about for the Horus Heresy. I wanted updated Castroferums. I wanted Mark 7 Space Marines. I wanted Jagatai Khan on a bike. And I wanted Endred Haar's friend Erod Vaughn to get a model because I like him. He's a Death Guard tech marine who stayed loyalist, but not because he liked the Emperor, but because he just kind of really didn't like Mortarion and became a pirate for a couple of years. That was all my stuff. That was everything. That's all I had.
I had a few left. Just to summarize, I guess, I had a few chaos things, a lot of chaos things, so we can ignore the chaos things, there's too many. I was hoping for Skitarii bodyguards. I think it's the one niche that Skitarii don't have, is like a very elite infantry bodyguard unit that you can really get some crazy stuff with the models. And someone fat for the Emperor's Children, a big fat gorge lord.
I am Lord Fatiguebile. I am an
there's a character. There's a character from the Renegades Lord of Excess novel called Lordling, and he is this massive, rounded, Emperor's Children, blade champion. But he's titanic, can barely speak, and can take a beating. And I would really love to have that as an Emperor's Children unit. Like a relatively tough unit that is literally just devouring its opponents.
That's fun. It will be nice to see the fat space marine venture outside of the Death Guard.
Yeah, borrowing something from cool. The AOS design language for that one character.
Yeah, they do it really well.
Who's the big guy from AOS? Name
I don't know, but he looks cool.
There is the fantasy guy Grom the Paunch.
What name?
He's excellent. He's currently fresh in the mind because I keep reminding myself of this one video in Dawn of War 3 where they accidentally messed up his speed value. So he's really fast. And you just see him bowling through people.
Or Scullion.
Oh, he's a
Lord
war
of
machine. That's why I couldn't see him.
He's a chompky fella in his chariot of feasting.
Yeah. He's not as big as I remember.
Big guy.
Well. He's a large lad, but he's not like unmovingly large.
Yeah, but doesn't Lordling have like a giant two-handed sword rather than
Yes.
like the duelist's pair that you normally see on Emperor's Children?
No, he absolutely does. Yeah, he is just a massive
and
bruiser.
small.
He doesn't really understand what's going on all the time. I literally think his armor like developed so that he can't really see properly.
Yeah.
But he's just a massive guy with a massive sword who can beat up anyone, pretty much.
Because no one could deal enough damage to kill him.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun. You could make some really funny rules for a guy like that.
Super easy.
rules. Yeah.
Like do the Red Terror thing where he just eats a guy.
You can bring back that the rule from 9th where you can only take a certain amount of damage per phase.
Oh, that's quite fun.
You could give him lance if he rolls down a hill.
Yeah, if he goes from a higher elevation to a lower elevation, he kills you. Like, you get him on top of a building. If he falls off the building, he just squashes you.
You know the Don Fry, Yoshihiro Takayama gif where you got the two MMA guys, Don Fry with his mustache and the big Japanese dude punching each other in the face repeatedly.
Yeah.
You could have that if you got Lordling and and like just one of the Plague Marine characters just throwing hands perpetually at each other.
The
Absolutely.
big guy from Tekken called.
I don't know his name, but I know where you're going with this.
Speed and weight, or whatever he says. That's that guy.
Oh, right. If anyone's got anything to cover that's not Necromunda, now is the time.
I do.
That's not Necromunda.
I heard you.
Enlighten us.
So, you know how the new Adeptus Titanicus loadouts for the Wall got revealed? There were some bits for the Reaver, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
GW, where the fuck is my warp missile gone?
Oh,
I want to
remember
evaporate
this.
a Warhound Titan on a 2+, please. Thank you.
And didn't you DM me about this as soon as the reveal came out? You sent me a message.
I absolutely did. I was irate. It's like you take a Reaver Titan, right, and you attach a colossal ballistic missile to the roof that, as far as I understand it, comes into contact with something and opens a portal to space hell, sucking it in.
Yep.
Punches through void shields, punches through everything because it's gone.
But have
There's
you
a
not heard
vacuum where that
of
once was.
Have you not heard of the Adeptus Mechanicus delete taser?
Yeah, but like that's lame.
Fucking
Not gonna lie.
phase taser. We can't start with a phase taser again.
Have you heard about the phase taser, Paul?
Is that the new thing in 11th?
No,
it was from a while ago. The
7th
Admech had a
edition.
relic, and the law for it was fucking obscene. The law was basically, hey, we have a taser, and if you get hit by this taser, you don't necessarily die. You just get sent to another dimension. Not the warp, just another dimension.
It's a bag of holding inside a bag of holding.
Yeah. It's we kill you by sending you somewhere where you can never be a problem ever again.
What was the-
Like, it's as if you get poked by it.
Yeah, you gotta be careful, you know.
Oh no,
That's
I
it.
dropped it. It landed on my foot. Gone
I mean, to be
forever.
fair, if that happens to you, then it's your own fault at that point. The
I'm pretty sure there's also, like, the implication in that lore that the Skitarii kill any tech priest that tries to take it from them. They somehow
They
overcome their
probably can.
programming to kill the tech priest and then squirrel it away back to their own hands.
I mean, you gotta have a contingency plan. There's a new in one of the 11th edition new detachments. There was this thing called TL409, and it's described as this modest-seeming casket is named for the almost indecipherable sigil on its ancient casing. The prevailing theocratic dogma is that this artifact is a weapon for when its iris shutter opens, a night black beam of incredible power is released. So they just have this casket that they just now point at people because it's essentially a melter.
I fucking love that. I love the random fucking bullshit relics that are just, hey, we're just sat on this thing that deletes things.
Yeah.
Just like, fuck you, I have the taser, the casket, the coffin of deletion,
The coffin of-
the taser of deletion.
The coffin of boop.
It just...
It just sounds like
doesn't-
it's
it
a
just doesn't
camera.
stop.
This is an advanced
It
camera.
doesn't sound like a camera. It's because it's strength 11, which is a weird strength. It's also D3 plus 2 damage. It's just a weird thing.
Oh, that's so fucking cool. Right, we are going to do the patron questions now. Let us schmoove. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I got to talk about.
truck now.
Do the sound effect.
Bridge, ding, 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 ding.
Thank you. good. You can't say you can't do the thing without like doing the sound.
Do you know the actual story behind that quote, by the way?
I'm assuming you're about to enlighten me.
It's really stupid. It's a fucking Buddy McBoatface situation, right? I think what was it? Was it Paramount that did the Transformers movies? Whichever parent company was behind them, right? Did a poll of what fans most wanted to hear him say, and according to I think it was an interview with Michael Bay or someone close to the production team. The higher up secretly nixed it because what one was I'm going to turn into a truck now.
Wait, there's no way. Oh, okay. That line is not actually Peter Cullen, right?
No, the one you've heard, it's like an AI version. It's really funny. There's like a Transformers cartoon that came out somewhat recently where he actually fucking says it.
Yeah, no, I caught that. I caught that's very silly. Right, Patreon questions. Mooch, you can move us over to the other screen now if you haven't already. Right, everybody, first question from Seal Ertle. Thank you, Seal Ertle, for being a part of the Patreon. If you're listening, guys, please join the Patreon. The podcast makes no money. It is unmonetized. Please join the Patreon. So the first Patreon question is from Seal Ertle. And Seal Ertle wants to know what is our favorite, so each of us, what is our favorite dinosaur?
Pachycephalosaurus.
Say that again, but slower.
Pachycephalosaurus. It's the ones with the dome heads and they just whack into each other. I love them.
Damn, you've ruined the gag already.
They're quite good. Nah, I quite like the Erlikosaurus.
The what?
The Erlikosaurus.
How do you spell that?
Erlikosaurus.
They're really good timekeeping.
Oh, it's a giant chicken.
Yeah, it's just a fat little chud. I love him.
Damn. I was gonna go. I genuinely was gonna come in and just say a chicken.
It's just a guy. It looks like if you. I assume you're looking at the Wikipedia page.
No. For me, I was gonna say for my answer was just a chicken.
Oh,
not wrong.
My answer is like KFC, big bucket.
There's
Does sound good.
certain species of like falcons and stuff. I think it's metal as fuck. They're referred to as raptors.
Yeah.
And it makes sense when like you see one of the ones that doesn't fly off and they just like to run around the place. You're like, oh yeah, no, that's a dinosaur, mate. I saw that thing in the background kill someone. Jurassic Park.
Paul, what is your favorite dinosaur?
I like me a Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus, kind of
Classic. Or
kind of classic, yeah.
General Scales, which is going to be a pull that I'm guessing 1% of my audience might know who that is.
This guy has appeared in too much Rule 34, that's all I'll say. Alright, moving on.
What does that mean?
General Scales is from Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah, and that's why.
Okay.
Everyone
And the
has
thing
been
I love
enlightened.
about him
Very cool.
is they obviously had this like idea for a fake language that they wanted to speak for the dinosaur people. So they had the voice actor make like do whatever this weird language is, but then when he gets to the words General Scales, he just says it normally. So he's like General Scales, and it's like it's the most bullshit. Like they're clearly struggling with this fake ass bullshit language, but when they get to a word they know, they suddenly go, oh, I know this word. And they just say it like really well, but the rest of it's just like this horrible disjointed like voice acting. It's so funny.
There's a fucking awful video. I ain't gonna quote it because we'll get in trouble. There's a fucking awful video of like some Chinese guy swearing, just going off at this woman in Chinese, and they're just going back and forth, and then he calls her a slur in perfect American, and it's so jarring but so well pronounced. It's the same fucking shit. Right, moving on. So this was the one that I wasn't sure if this question had been done or not, but if it has, then shit happens. We're answering it again. This is from Madison. Thank you so much, Madison, for being a part of the Patreon. Madison asks, what is the worst advice you have seen or heard someone give to a newcomer into the hobby side of Warhammer? So painting, assembling, kit bashing, etc., right? What is the worst advice you've seen someone give to someone else, or heard of someone giving, or perhaps given yourself in at some point or another? Oh, you must have a couple of these, Sarek.
I don't know. I've heard some store managers get things very wrong before. Like, I remember a store manager once saying to a friend of mine, oh yeah, so this was like a few years ago, right? Before the new, Chaos Raptors release.
Yeah.
And there was that box set, right, that had all the Raptors in it, and like the new jump pack lords and everything. And he was saying, no, it's okay. The Raptors are actually pretty well scaled with the new character, as if the new character was not an absolute unit, twice the size of any of those Raptor models. And I just had to look at her and like shake my head.
That's fair. I think it's really hard. I've seen a few silly ones. One of the ones that I often think is really bad that people talk about is like how to unsuperglue things.
It's nail varnish remover, right?
Yeah, but if you're using plastic, there's acetone in it, so you'll fuck the plastic.
Just as fast as you can to the nearest wall.
I mean, and so the advice that I often see people giving is like, put it in the freezer. You got to freeze it because that.
What?
Blah, 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 blah. And what I've seen happen more often than not is like posts where people say, someone told me to freeze it, so I froze it. I left it in the freezer for a day and I pulled it out and then I tried to undo it and I ended up snapping his whole arm off. As in like breaking the arm like halfway down the arm rather than at the joint.
God.
It's like, guys, if you've super glued it on, you're better off just trying to cut it out or saw it out if there's like a hold on it and then carefully green stuffing it back together or something.
Yeah. Just pull on it. It's super
put it-
glue, it comes off.
If you put it in the freezer, like maybe there's some science that works there, but I've seen plenty of times that people have done that shit and they've regretted it fast as fuck.
Yeah.
So, like,
Nail varnish
this-
remover, by the way, works really well.
Well, the problem with superglue, right? The freezer thing does work, but you gotta know what you're doing. It's specifically very good if you're trying to undo a ball joint that doesn't have too much in. It will work like a fucking charm for that, right? You'll take it out and the foot will basically just fall off. Anything else, that's it, mate. You're fucked.
yeah.
You'll have a better chance just trying to brute force it off manually than trying to keep it intact after freezing it.
One of the things I used to do for arms and leg stuff where it's like a flat joint. And I don't recommend doing this, so guys, because you will get cut. I've cut myself doing this several times. Getting some acetone, some Tamiya cement, or some nail varnish, anything with acetone in it, and sort of lightly putting it on the joint or on the knife of your hobby knife, and then cutting into the joint whilst there's acetone on it. And it'll take a few attempts of going back and forth with a little bit more acetone each time. But what the acetone does when it touches plastic is it turns the plastic into a liquid. And so if you're coating your knife in this and then cutting into it, you are going to eventually get through. But it's really dangerous for obvious reasons, but it works. Yeah, just don't put it in the fucking freezer unless, like Rock said, you know what you're doing. Right,
But
any
it's,
other ones?
Weirdly enough, the best way I found to undo plastic, cement, super glue, that's the one. I have an old pair of the Citadel like full metal nippers that are blunted at the edges quite a bit now. They've done their years of service.
Sure, yeah.
Depending on the piece, if you can get it, it's especially good for arms where it's flat joints. If you can just get it in the gap and apply enough pressure, it'll just pop off with like very minimal damage. Because it's science, innit, bro?
What about you, Paul? You see anyone fucking pull some bullshit?
I actually haven't seen much bad advice because I haven't seen that much. Like, I think most of the time now, most advice that I've seen is pretty good, and most people, when we've been getting people into the hobby or whatever, it's pretty kind of easy.
Unbound! Sorry, that was the old 7th edition.
There we
You
go,
can
we
build
got
what armor you want. I knew it would come back to me later.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the one thing I think is that might be somewhat controversial. People go like, collect what you think looks cool. And that works for most of the time, except when you're someone who goes, I think Thousand Suns is cool. How do I paint Thousand Suns? Oh, good lord, it's Thousand Suns paint and mouse paint. I think if you're getting into an army, like because it is a lot of money, like you don't want to go down a rabbit hole of like, I think, Thousand Suns is an example. Super cool lore-wise, I've seen them especially in 2, they're awesome, I want to play Thousand Suns, and then you get to the point where like you collect them because you think the models look cool, building them's not too bad, and then you get to painting them, you realize that this is the most annoying thing in the world, and then you are like, I want to play on the tabletop, and they're quite complicated. There's a reason that Space Marines are the way they are is because they're pretty easy to paint, they're pretty easy to build, pretty easy to play, and I'm not telling you that, don't go collect 1,000 suns if that's what you want to do, but I think there's a case of be more, don't just collect something that looks cool. Have a little bit of like double checking to make sure it is something like joy. Or Admech is another one. People go, Admech look cool, I want to make an Admech army. That was my first army. Then you realize that you buy £6,000 of Admech and you've got 90 points, and they're fiddly as hell, they have tons of detail, and they're just a bit of a nightmare.
Same for Gene Stealers as well.
Gene Stealer,
It's like you need to buy so many guys.
Yeah. And then you go, Necrons are cool. Oh, great, I spray painted them silver, and I'm done. Excellent. All right, we can move on to the next model. So, I guess that the advice of like, get what you think is cool is correct, but also get what you think is cool, and also just double check that it's something you can manage if that is the way you want to go, because you don't want to be then stuck with. To be fair, I've got like 600 points of painted, like complete and painted 1,000 Suns, because I've painted Magnus, which is nearly 500, and a Mutant Vortex Beast.
Yeah.
So that's my 600 points. It's just a that I think is like it's less bad advice. It's more don't be so flippant with that kind of thing, because it can cost you, and it might end up actually really souring you on the experience if you don't take that little extra bit of like step to properly think about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
It's very much a hobby that requires the forethought,
Yeah. And
like especially when getting into
and if you're someone who's like, super into lore about a certain army, and you're going to get to it and it's going to be tricky, but it's not going to stop you. If that's like your goal, then it's great. But I'm sure it's not a hobby you want to get into on like on a whim decision. Like, this is cool. Which is probably why it's a good thing they don't build all of these bloody models we've been talking about, because if I just kept seeing this shit pop, it's like, God, this giant like weird engine seer for knights. I want that. I'll get into knights. Oh, actually no, they released these awesome Sisters of Silence like variations. I want to get into them now. It's like, oh no, here's the I can't remember the name of them, the Necron ones that we talked about.
Pariahs.
That's one. The whatever Nexus, all of these things, like, if it is one thing that if it captures your attention, you want to get into it. You just got to take that step back and realize that it's going to be a nightmare to build and paint. I did that. Actually did this with the Triumvirate of Incarn before they separated out the kits. So I was like,
okay.
because I was like, oh, the Incarn looks really cool. And then I looked at how much it would be to build it. I was like, or how hard it would be to build and paint. I was like, I'll do that later. And that was 4 years ago. So that's still in the box.
Ooh.
Gliggy, back up, little man.
Well, I see. You're so right, Paul, and that's exactly why Necromunda is the game for you, listeners.
It's low model count and nice and simple. That's why
Crazy models you can kit bash to your heart's
that's
content.
why everyone should play Gaslands.
and two of Astartes shipping Hot Wheels. Yep.
And with that, thank you all so much for watching.
Do I
has
not get to answer?
Get the fuck out of here. Go on, Necromunda boy.
2 bits. First one's nice and quick. Space Marines, as much as you might want to think they are not a beginner-friendly model, specifically when it comes to painting them. Volumetric shapes are a fuck. I hate you.
Just play Raven Guard and spray paint in black. Easy.
There you go. Problem solved. Number 2. Don't trust game store staff. When me and my friends got back into Warhammer proper at like the start of 9th edition, whenever we had a rules dispute, we just phone a GW store. And after like a week or two doing that, we very quickly realized, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Have they read the rules? And it was at that point we never again sought outside input into our interpretation of the rules.
Friends and I had a manager insist that in 10th edition you could combine whatever armies you like. I had to explain, no, that's specifically a 9th thing. He's like, yeah, no. At the beginning of 10th edition, it was the really big competitive thing that everyone was doing. They'd combine Guard with Blood Angels. I'm like, what? I'm trying not to say no, you're a fucking idiot. What are you talking about?
It really does make you wonder if there's like regional versions of the core rules for any given edition of 40k out there.
There
just
must be
exist in an insular little gaming community.
Funny story actually about that is I was in Japan on holiday and I met up with a couple of people. Someone who owns a game store in one of the areas of Tokyo, and another YouTuber, Legion W, who's done a triple hammerfall bunker list. And I met with them, and one thing that's quite interesting that Legion W mentioned was that because of the translation, the rules that the Japanese players were playing with was different to what the expats were playing with, because the translations came later, and two, they would contract out the translations, so different translators translated things in different ways. So you'd have situations where Armor of Contempt was named two different things and was therefore like two different stratagems, but that wasn't the case in the English version, obviously. So there was always like some weird like arguments there where the Japanese player was like, we're playing one of these rules, which is what it says in translation, and that translation might be out of date because there's been a new update that hasn't been translated yet. And it was absolute nightmare. So there is actually that kind of like, there are some people playing with like a different set of rules because of translation. Slightly different what you were saying, was like people who like read the rules wrong are probably like playing it in a different way. But it's slightly one of those things where it's like there are definitely areas of the world that are playing a different game because of the way it's translated.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
That's very funny. Legion W is a really great YouTuber. I don't know if he's like posting regularly or not, but I remember seeing his Hammerfall Bunker video when it was new.
Yeah,
really great 40k YouTuber. Certainly deserves a slightly larger following, so you can check him out.
And
you can check him out as
super
well.
Nice guy. Didn't steal my kidneys when he took me somewhere in Japan. I had no idea where he was. But like we literally just we were wandering around. And he was like, "Oh, I'll show you this place." And I was literally like walking around. Then my wife phone was like, "Where are you?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm in Tokyo." That's it. Like,
that's how it down.
And I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make my way back to you now because he didn't steal my kidneys, which was very nice of him."
Yeah, largest city in the world, isn't it?
It's a lovely city. It's confusing, but great transport.
You check it. So I'm assuming you obviously checked out the Warhammer world there, right?
Yeah, the Warhammer Cafe. That's where we met. That's where I met, and then we walked from there to somewhere, and then I went back.
I bet it had some sick Gundam stores that Croc will never see in his lifetime.
I will say actually, the Gundam stores, obviously lots of Gundam. Tokyo builds up, so it's lots of floors. Also very cramped. It's very claustrophobic in those shops. It's like the shelves are basically like you have to sidle down the shelves to look at everything. It's a bit overwhelming. Check out Tokyo when you have a time, audience. Just as and when.
Absolutely.
The whole thing.
Go everywhere.
Just start from one corner and just snake back and forth across the entirety of Tokyo. It'll only take you forever.
Do you want to get out of print or cheap P Bandai kits? Just buy like a £500 ticket to Tokyo on a plane and save all that money.
Dude, I can't wait to go and see all the sites for my favorite 60s detective novel, Inspector Imanishi Investigates, which is no one is going to know about.
That is And I thought I was putting something out my ass with fucking Star Fox Adventures. I'm clearly not on the level of you of 60s Japanese detective. Oh dear.
Right. Real quick, hold up, Croc. Can it real quick? Everyone who is listening, thank you so much for watching. I don't care. I can smell it coming. I want to quickly get the outro in, and then you guys can flap, and I'll fade out on the moment. Thank you all so much for watching, Paul. I'll thank you again really quickly whilst we are recording.
Thank you very much.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Listeners, I said a minute ago, please join the Patreon. This channel is not monetized. It probably won't get monetized, so no ads whilst watching the podcast, but obviously, but thank you all so much for watching. We're going to fade out on Croc flapping about fucking Necromunda here.
But join us next week.
You want to uncork that bottle, boy? I'll uncork that bottle.
Go on.
So there's some very funny developments in the campaign, because today is it's the start of the new takeover cycle.
Give me money! Give me money!
So immediately, right, get this. Because one player did...
Moots fence back in.
He ended up going last, which meant I was going second last because I'm winning by no small fucking margin. But get this fucking asshole, right? These goddamn Palanites were after the mine workings from the squats. And those are mine. I bought fucking Ambot so I can make extra money. So come hell or high water, I just gave this guy the fucking option to campaign, right?
His campaign. I just gave him
a bunch of money and a special guide.
Yeah!